I'd like to call this Town of Cedar Lake Redevelopment Commission meeting for March 5th, 2024 to order at 6:40 p.m. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get roll call, please?
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Recupero?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Ms. Rivera?
Here.
Mr. Parker? Mr.
Here.
Becker, I'm sorry.
Here.
Mr. Teal?
Here.
Ms. Haskell? Here. Mr. Lazar?
Here.
Ms. Sandberg? Present. Mr. Bungie?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Heiduk is present.
All right, thank you. I'd like to apologize for starting a little bit late today. Executive session ran a little bit over. First thing in order is a presentation for Explore Everyday Community Recognition, Bigby Coffee, Nick and Donna Lackey.
We're here.
You can step
Come up and give us a little history about your venture here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Donna Lackey.
I'm Nick Lackey, thanks for having us.
We've opened up about a year and a half ago. We've seen that Jamba Juice vacated, and I don't know about you guys, but I felt living in the community, a coffee shop needed to be there. So immediately I went and researched who the owner of the property was, and we had only learned about Bigby Coffee about 2 weeks prior to that, never heard of it ever in our lives, and had come across it at another store and found out it was a great company. We really enjoyed the company and their ethics and all of that, and so one thing led to another, and we opened pretty fast. We bought the franchise in March of 22 and opened October 22. Right after, so it just rolled. So that was an exciting journey for us, and we're loving it.
Yeah, it's been a
And
great
loving the
opportunity.
community.
Yeah, we've had opportunity to get to know the community, taking drinks out to other businesses and getting to know Cedar Lake a little bit more. We live just down the street off Parrish and Beacon Point, and so it's really close to where we're at. We've really enjoyed just kind of getting to know the community that way, and it's been really a real blessing for us.
And you came from California.
We did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Came from California. My wife Donna's originally from the area, but I grew up and lived in California and brought us out here. So I came from a smaller town, kind of in California. So this is a great team, and we've been loving it here in Cedar Lake and getting to know all the people, recognizing faces too.
Yeah, that's fun.
All you guys.
Yeah. Those guys.
Yeah, Bob, a few weeks ago, you sent out a video. You guys made it to the big leagues on TV.
Oh, yeah, that,
Yeah.
so that was such a surprise. They contacted us the day before, like 18 hours before it happened, and we were late, didn't get home till midnight from a Bulls game we had planned the day after Christmas,
Yeah.
and Fox News wants to show up at 6 a.m. Like, all right, I'll be there. That was fun. That was a lot of
But it
fun.
worked out. It was a nice surprise, and Bob came by
Yeah.
and blessed us with his presence and gave us a really good rundown of Cedar Lake, and so it was overall a really good experience for us.
We're having a blast.
Mr.
with
Cedar
it.
Lake.
Yeah.
He's a social butterfly.
So thank you. That was an honor that we've got asked for this. Yeah.
We have a letter actually and a certificate. I'm going to ask Julie if she'd like to read that.
Thank you for coming. Dear Nick and Donna, on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission of Cedar Lake, I would like to express our thanks to Bigby Coffee for its service to Cedar Lake. Since its grand opening on October 25th, 2022, Bigby Coffee has been serving Cedar Lake residents and its visitors with enthusiasm and smiles. As Cedar Lake residents yourself, you strive to give the best service to your community. You're great employers to your employees and provide them with a safe and gratifying place to work. Our town motto is Explore Every Day. This has multiple meanings, but one of which I am convinced is to explore the features of the town and linger a while with your family, friends, and business associates. You and Bigby Coffee allow folks to purchase great beverages and food to enjoy while they linger and visit with others. Your purchase of coffee directly from the farm reflects your desire to ensure the best for your vendors and consumers. To that end, we remit a resolution of thanks to you and your team for all your hard work and dedication to Cedar Lake. Thank you for your contribution to Cedar Lake.
Present the certificate certificate, and we'll all go down there and get a picture with them.
Mad, man, I put my big shirt on.
I know. Bring a coffee. I know.
I'm sorry, Bob. I was preoccupied.
Bill, you're slacking.
You go wherever you want.
Please together.
I'll put it back. Be good for you. Totally.
Another one, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, thank you.
I know.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, yes, for sure.
Yeah, the wheel time.
Something's going on here, right? You don't want to get down there.
Yeah.
50%.
Good enough.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much. Good to see you. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Number one, approval of the February 6th, 2024 meeting minutes, and number two, claim funds 404 in the amount of $0 and fund 804 in the amount of $26,500. Do we have any questions?
I have one. We have Veritas on there for $8,000, and it says 823, and I'm assuming that's for 2023?
Yes, sir, that's part of the previous contract. That specific check from August, we had sent it, but it was one of those in the grouping of checks that were stolen. I don't know if you remember, about a month ago, I reported that we had received the one back for Cronin Associates. We're still working with the bank on this specific one, but Veritas has been emailing me over and over, so I just wanted to get it taken care of. That way, we're completely done with this contract now, and you don't have to worry about it moving forward.
And the one for January 24th, is that this year?
No, that's technically December's work for the 23 contract.
Okay, so that's all previous?
Yes, that was already previously, and you can see the project number of 2022-0142, that was for the 23 contract. So with this payment, of these two amounts totaling $8,000, this contract's done, over with, don't have to worry about anything moving forward.
And that's on our docket too tonight. All right, thank you.
No more questions. I'd like to receive a motion.
I'll make that motion.
That would be to approve?
Approve, yes.
All right.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mary Jo Dixon and a second by Nick Recupero. Roll call vote.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Recupero?
Yes?
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Ms. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, vote carries 7-0. Moving on to new business, nominate, Explore Everyday Community Recognition for Q2 recipient. This will be awarded in June, I believe 4th is the next, would be a quarter meeting, right, June 4th? Okay. Do we have anybody in mind, or, I mean, it doesn't have to be today anyway, because we have the quarterly, so if anybody did, you know.
Okay.
So.
I got an idea. I gotta make sure that there's holders, they say they are.
Let's wait till the next meeting and
We'll go over the list.
we'll go over the list.
We'll go over the list, okay. Yeah, so we shouldn't need any action for that then. Do we have any written communication?
I am not aware of any.
All right. Do we have any public comment for redevelopment? Public comment going twice? Public comment 3 times? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 6:49 PM. Next meeting will be at 7 o'clock, Town Council.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town of Cedar Lake Town Council Public Meeting for March 2024. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this gathering tonight. Father, we're so gracious and grateful for all you do for us each and every day. We pray that we have a great conversation, that each one of us work together, that we continue to strive to be better in seeking you out. Father, we're thankful for all that you do for us each and every day, and ask that you watch each one of us tonight during this meeting as well as on our way home. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. Meeting's called to order at 7:03 p.m. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Julie Sarah.
Here.
Chuck Becker.
Here.
Mary Jo Dixon.
Here.
Richard Field.
Here.
Greg Parker.
Here.
Nick Recupido.
Here.
I am present. Jeff Fungi.
Present.
David Austin.
Present. Thank you, ma'am. Public hearings, number 1, ordinance number 1456, public way vacation continued public hearing, Rago. This item has been deferred many times. Mr. Austin, review of legals.
Many times I've recorded legals and others.
All right, thank you, sir. Opening remarks. Do we have a petitioner here for this item?
Yes, sir.
Please come on up, sir, and...
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Some members here have heard this a long time. New members.
I haven't seen you in almost a week.
New former member. Oh, yeah. Game? Where?
At the challenge hearing. I had a lot of fun that day. You did a nice job too, by the way. You only had one?
That's all.
Just one.
That was all. That's all we needed.
It's interesting in a Republican minority county, the Democrats have the majority, they have 1, and the Republicans have 16.
Yeah, well, sorry, folks. The Republicans were party issues. Ours was an elected official, 2 elected official issues.
I would call them petty issues, but
Well,
it was interesting though. I enjoyed seeing you in action over there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. My name's Jim Weaver. I've been the attorney for the project. I was looking back for almost 4 years now that we've been before the council. And John Rago is here with me this evening. I am not going to take a lot of time, I promise you. Most of you you've either heard it as a member of this council or you've seen it as someone sitting in the audience watching the council act. I just want to give you the overview and then make your decision based on that. This started out in August of 1920.
1920.
Wow.
That's a long time.
1920, that's how old I am. In 2020. I forgot, I was giving you my birthday, so I apologize. The first public hearing was held on September 15th of 2020, and at the end, of that public hearing, the town council voted to approve the vacation. However, since it wasn't a unanimous vote, it required a second reading. At the time of the second reading, new information, evidence, whatever we might term it, was brought to bear that obviously we were not prepared to respond to since it was never brought up in the original public hearing. And that was an issue regarding concerns for public health and safety because of NIPSCO. What it boiled down to was the NIPSCO overhead wire that was there. There were 3 wires. One was a dead wire, the other was just Comcast, and this was an active wire. As a result of that, ultimately, the town council then reversed itself and voted against it. We spent some time thereafter, when I say we, I mean the petitioner, spent some time thereafter pursuing NIPSCO and discussing with NIPSCO their rules and regulations and things of that nature. So, bottom line is, we came back and we refiled, and introduced into evidence the rules and regulations of NIPSCO that showed that not only were we in compliance with the rules and regulations, but we far exceeded them because the overhead line was 12 to 18 feet above what the prescribed rule was for, the prescribed standard was for how high it had to be above either a walkway or a residential deck. In this case, it would have been a deck coming out of the house over the public right-of-way. Before I forget, there was a lot of confusion during that time about actually where the public right-of-way or the walkway was located. We were asked, and we did, over the course of time, provide 3 surveys, the last of which pretty definitively showed that the public walkway is right next to the house. It's not out along the lake, or it's not in Outlot C or anything like that. It's just right up against the house. And that's where it's located. So when we introduced the NIPSCO evidence, then all of a sudden the objection was that there was no access. No access for NIPSCO to get in there, or other utilities or other services to access those lines and that particular area. We had information and evidence in a presentation from the president of the Homeowners Association there, who supported the project, and also showed, and we introduced a number of pictures and information that that access point is in fact the one the homeowners use to get to put their boats in the water, to bring their boats out of the water, and to provide access, and has provided access to NIPSCO in the past. So then once that was decided, or at least presented, then the issue became, well, we're concerned about the safety, or the public safety, personal safety maybe, of the next door neighbor, and I think there's 2 houses there that are still on the same, that are on that line. I do want to point out real quickly that my clients aren't even on that line. Nobody else in that area is on that line but those 2 houses. My client's NIPSCO service is in the rear, which, towards Huseman. And so is everybody else. The line goes down, you can see it, it's a newer line, but the 2 houses next are serviced by this line that comes across my client's property. So then, when we satisfied, or I like to think we satisfied that, maybe it's too strong a term, the issue of access, and then it became an issue of, well, there could be liability on the part of the town. And that plus the pandemic plus some other things is why this has taken so long. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's kind of like the goalpost kind of kept moving. And so when that came about, we prepared and submitted to the town an indemnity agreement, saying we would hold the town harmless, we'd indemnify the town, we would hold the town harmless from any claim that could be made against the town, even though the town would no longer have an interest in the property, but still, you know how those conniving lawyers can be.
That wasn't good enough though, Mr. Weezer,
Yeah.
because the people who are serviced by that line, it didn't protect us from them if there was something that happened.
Well, it would protect you from them. We're protecting the town from whoever makes the claim. If a claim is made, we're going to protect the town. We've indemnified the town, so if the claim is made by one of the neighbors or a third party or somebody, a utility or whatever, we would indemnify the town.
That wasn't, Mr. Austin, was that your understanding of that? Because I thought it was different than that.
There is provision in the draft or proposed indemnity agreement that does reference the indemnification by the indemnitor, Mr. and Mrs. Rago, of the town. I don't think that was the issue with this document. I think it had to do with the joiners.
Yeah, that was my
Because this
belief.
document does exactly what Jim just said it would do.
Yeah.
Between the town and the Ragos. But
Right.
it's the adjoiners.
And
Question.
my question is, what relief would the neighbors that are serviced by this line have if there's a problem that we create as a council by, I don't know what the problem may be, but we're indemnified as a town.
Correct.
But what avenue do those folks serviced by the line have as far as a remedy if we create an issue for them by way of vacating it? If they can't go after us,
Well, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and this is based on everything I know, the odds of that happening are slim and none. But in the slim, or can't be the none event, in the very slim event that that could happen, I think one is irrelevant, not relevant to this particular proceeding. This proceeding is to vacate a right-of-way, and I understand what you're saying. To vacate a right-of-way, like a number of the right-of-ways have been vacated, this right-of-way has been vacated several times in the past, along the way.
There were no utilities in those previous vacations. And I might be
There's
able
no utility in this one either, Greg. It's overhead that...
I understand. I might be able to save you a little trouble here, though, because we've had some discussion about this, and, am I out of turn here, Rich? 'Cause
We've had quite a bit of discussion.
Rich is very capable. He's with drawings and GIS and a number of things of that nature. We want to create a solution for Mr. Rago. It is the desire of this council to create a solution for Mr. Rago. A vacation we don't feel is that. You want me to take this, Rich, or you want to take it? What we'd like to see before even potentially find a plausible solution for this is what Mr. Rago wants to build. We know that he has a doorway on the side of the house next to this walkway, and we would like to know what type of structure, dimensions, things of that nature that he would like to build there, and then try to proceed with a plan to adjust this based on that. Is that plausible?
Well, I don't know. John, I'm assuming you have some idea of what you intend to do.
Well, I thought that you received a copy of the proposed deck over a year ago.
I've not seen it. Rich, have you seen it?
I have not seen it, yeah.
Okay.
We can provide that.
That would help us.
We can provide that, right, John? Yes, we can provide that.
It's just the deck just extend out. We weren't even gonna be building on the easement. The posts were gonna go past it 12 feet, and then there was a set of stairs leading down to my properties so I could go to the lake.
Well, that's what we need to see. If we could see that, and I'm not saying that that's gonna be the end-all, be-all solution, but that will get us closer towards working out a solution for your situation. Again, it is the will of this council to try to come up with a solution for you, but we don't feel like a vacation is the solution at this point, at least until we see what you want to build there.
Okay, well, we appreciate that. To whom should we submit the plans? Just so we know.
I would
Tim?
submit them to Jeff, town manager. You
Okay,
can submit them with him as well, but he
Okay.
can get those through his office to us
Okay.
for review.
Okay, so would this matter just then be deferred for that purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
If you're okay with that.
absolutely, we'll give it our best try.
Rich and
We'll work it
Mary
out.
Joan have both looked at it. I haven't looked at it yet. I intend to, but, I mean, it's typically not our job to design something for somebody to make these things work. In this case, we're gonna make an exception
And we
and try
appreciate
to
it.
create a solution.
Much appreciated. So we'll do that. We'll get plans. Can you get them right away, John, in the next several days or something, or week?
I've got copies in my desk.
Do you want to bring them back here? No, okay, we'll have it to you
We'll be
real
here
quick
while.
this week.
Okay.
We'll have it to you this.
We'll be here.
Okay, we'll just work it out tonight. We'll bring them, we'll have them to you, we'll deliver them, and then you can let us know where you stand, either through David or however you want to let us know what your thoughts are. Sure. Okay.
Is this something that within 2 weeks we can
I would,
have an idea?
I would think so.
Yep, as long as you folks can get them to us relatively quick to review them.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right.
Yeah, you might be looking at a deferral here as we get to the hearing.
Understood.
Yeah.
We just wanna get our eyeballs on it, grab boots on the ground, try to come up with a common sense solution to the whole thing.
Well, truly appreciated. We'd like to see that happen, so we'll have them to you this week.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, this is deferred then,
I got a couple other items on the hearing, I'm gonna open it up to remonstrance.
Oh,
that
okay,
was
sure.
advertised, but yeah, we'll
Okay.
make a decision at the end here.
Fine,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you, sir.
Thanks.
The reading of ordinance number 1456 by title only, Mr. Parker.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1456, an ordinance vacating a public way in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to open up the floor to remonstrators on this item. Anybody here that would like to remonstrate for or against, any concerns you have? Please come on up, state your name and address for the record, sir.
Jerry Wilkeny, 10826 West 131st Avenue. I like the progress, but until you've all seen documentation that protect everybody, because I don't think we've seen that yet, and Mr. Weiser is absolutely correct, it's been a long time.
That's what we're after.
Okay.
We're gonna hammer it out, hopefully.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else here? Last call for remonstrance. Did you have anything submitted
No one
online? No? Okay. Town council discussion and decision. You're looking at a deferral then?
I just put my 2 cents in. I've always felt like if we're vacating it, it belongs to the Ragos, and it's not the town's responsibility anymore. And something happens with NIPSCO, it's between you and NIPSCO. I would have liked to see this move forward, but I understand, the need to see the plan at this point. But hopefully, this horse has been beaten to death, and I'm sorry that it's like jump through this hoop, and then in 2 weeks there's another hoop, and I think you've done everything that's been asked of you, so I'm hoping that we can get this solved.
Thank you, Julie. Do we have any other discussion?
My concern is access to NIPSCO. As we see right here in front, we had to give NIPSCO an easement just to service the new buildings. They couldn't just go on our property. They would not do that until we gave them an easement. If we take this access away, okay, what happens?
That would be the property owner and NIPSCO and not us, if we're, the indemnified.
I just don't want, and I said this last year, I don't want to create a civil issue for people that are being serviced. So because of stupid decisions that government makes in our daily lives, they create issues for us as citizens, and I just want to avoid that. I want to completely get this fixed for the Rago family, but I also don't want to create another whole slew of problems that, we're going to have 2 residents that are going to be duking it out because of a bad decision we made.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could avoid stupid decisions by government going forward?
Well, yeah, we're trying, but we'll try. So that's it.
I think Mr. Doler has a question.
Sure.
I'm Michael Dolder, 8421 West 139th Avenue. I'm John's neighbor to the south. I'm also the president of the Lakeshore Subdivision Association. And we have 2 lights down on the lakefront from 139th Avenue going north that are NIPSCO lights. And just in October of last year, they were out working on all of the light poles in that area. And we provide them access on our lakefront property, which we keep, it's basically wide enough for people to bring their trucks down, haul piers and lifts and things down to the lakefront. So they were in October, they were able to access all of those poles. I think new insulators, or I don't really know what they were doing, but they did not go across that walkway easement because it's really not suitable for walking, or you couldn't take a vehicle across it. But so they have it, and because we have those NIPSCO light poles down there, we guarantee them access, and And we provide it for our own people, so we have a truck gate there, so you can bring large vehicles down and do service.
Is that actually a utility easement, though?
No, it's not, it's a walkway easement. In fact, I was looking, I got an old drawing, I've owned the property there since 2001. That walkway easement was established in 1926 as the eastern border of the lakeshore addition to Cedar Lake. And at that time, the property east of it was the Monon Railroad property. And I'm not sure when Monon Railroad moved, but then they sold that property to the adjacent property owners. So that's why John Rago and all the neighbors to the north, they all own, the property on the other side, and that easement is retained, so. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I apologize, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm the next one to the north, I'm the next owner to the south, and I had my, walkway easement vacated back in 2010.
I'm glad you brought this up, because when, obviously, I was on the council last year, several times when this was, brought up in public hearing, and you had mentioned access. Is there a document you feel comfortable providing the council, the town, regarding some guarantee of access that we can have in a file?
Or potentially converting it to a utility easement? Because that is the document that guarantees, a recorded document that would guarantee that there is access for NIPSCO as or
I
whoever
sent a
needs
letter
to,
back in May of
utilities.
last year, you would have got a few others, I could dig that up and offer that. I mean, as the subdivision association, we would have no authority to offer that as a utility easement across Rago's property. So you're saying maybe to offer it along our lakefront where it goes down to the light poles?
Well, I don't know what the solution is, but, at this point, whatever makes sense to guarantee that there is access for utilities and get Mr. Rago what he needs to move forward, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, here's a challenge. We got like 98 homeowners in our subdivision association. I'm the president. I can't sell or convey any property or anything like that without participation of half the homeowners in the subdivision.
Well, there's other potential solutions that we've discussed, but I just wanted to throw that out there since you came up and volunteered the information that you
I'll
had.
tell you what, I'll get my old letter out and get that sent out, and you can see if that would be helpful. It's what I can do. Again, I don't have the authority without having to convene a meeting, which it's tough.
Like herding.
Enough trouble getting people to pay their bills,
It's like herding cats, I
the
get it.
membership fees, so. But I'll send some, and hopefully that'll contribute, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dolder, appreciate it. Okay, any other discussion?
I got one quick thing.
Tim?
Just for the ones of you that haven't been here, the issue with this entire thing is that the actual utility line is above this walking path. So that is being utilized as a utility easement currently. So nobody's disputing access to the pole. Obviously, you're not gonna drive on top of his, 1 foot away from his house to back up to the pole, but the problem is that is where the wire and the pole is located, is in this 10-foot walking path. So that is initially, there's no issues with servicing. The wire doesn't hang across Mr. Rago's property, it hangs across the town's walking path property, and that's the issue at hand, and that's it. There's plenty of room to get to it, and I'm sure everybody's gonna let the trucks drive there, and, it's common sense, but the problem being that 10-foot strip is why that wire can hang across that particular area, so.
I agree with you. I've seen squirrels short out transformers and do enough damage to a pole that the pole had to be replaced.
Yeah, they can get there, they can always get around, and I'm sure, they can get there, but I guess the fear is just the two people's houses that are serviced by that line now do not have a valid area to get power from unless they get it from Huseman, and then who is gonna who's that burden to be put on?
Yeah, that's why we're looking for something.
and that's it, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Tim. Okay, do we have a decision on this matter? Will this be deferred?
Make a motion to defer it 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks to the March 19th town council meeting?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Teal to defer this item to March 19th, with the understanding by the petitioner that a few other documents have been requested to be submitted a week in advance of the next town council meeting. Any discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Vera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Peel?
Yes.
Grace Parker?
Yes.
Nick Esposito?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Public comment on agenda items, public comment on agenda items only. We'll have another public comment section at the end of the meeting for other items, but anybody here on agenda items? Ms. Sandberg?
No hands raised.
Okay. Public comment on agenda items is now closed. Moving on to consent agenda. 1, claims, all town funds, $789,728.91. Wastewater operating, $220,016.45. Water utility, $83,234.09. Stormwater, $13,678.35. And payroll from February 29th, 2024 and March 1st, 2024, $284,833.36. Number 2, tag days, rain dates in parenthesis, April 6th with a rain date of April 13th, American Legion, May 4th, rain date of May 11th, Hanover Junior Wildcats football and cheer, May 18th, rain date May 25th, AMVETS, August 24th, August 31st, rain date for Hanover Central High School cheer. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Teal, seconded by Mr. Becker to accept this consent agenda. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Bob?
Jen, we paid $80 to the Treasury of the state of Indiana, and for toxology, what was that for?
Chief Fisher?
One more time. Let's ask another question.
We paid $80 to the Treasurer of the state of Indiana for toxology.
Toxicology.
Toxicology?
We have to the state of Indiana charges $40 for recertification for every officer for the intoxilizer or the breath test machine. Every time we retest, which is every 3 years.
Okay. Then I just want to lift this up. I see we're paying our shared ethic dues of $375.
Yes, sir.
And we have our police dispatch with Cherville, the PSAP. Bill is $33,761.72. Has that increased? Did they increase the amount because we had to pay bill at the end of the year?
Well, we already paid the reconciliation for 2023. The annual, for 2024, the estimated monthly charges, it did increase, but it's not, it might be a penny or two off because we were actually billed, what you're looking at is 50% of January's and 50% of February's bills. You need to also go to under the Lowell Public Safety monies, that's where the other 50% of it's paid out of. 50% is paid out of the general fund, 50% is paid out of the Lowell Public Safety fund. It increased slightly over last year, but I can't remember the number off the top of my head.
So
again,
hopefully
traditionally,
we won't have to pay more money at the end of the year.
again, that's all dependent on the activities of the dispatch center. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the cost will be over this year, whether anything with Motorola increases, whether there's anything that goes down with, their technology or equipment, things like that they use. If they decide to give raises or add personnel, there's a variety of factors that could affect the reconciliation.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Bob, you mentioned that I assume that's dues for the shared ethics, correct?
Yes.
I think we should continue to work on our ethics around here and maybe put like a jar up here for every time somebody does something unethical. Throw a pin in there. hopefully keep that jar empty.
If I can ask
Yeah.
Jen, on the tag days, are they informed, the ones with youth, that they have to be 18 and older to participate in tag days?
I couldn't tell you because that's fully under town administration. Tag days, I don't have anything to do with.
So are they sent a letter that they are approved?
Couldn't tell you, I haven't seen the letter.
So if a letter is sent that they're approved, which I would think they would be, could we emphasize that people who collect fees have to be 18 and older per the ordinance?
Absolutely.
We tend to have children out there that are not 18 years of age.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
you might want to add to that the list of conditions when you're sending to them as a reminder.
Sounds like a great idea. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for the discussion. If there's no more discussion, can we have roll call, please?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Deal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Ordinances, resolutions. Number 1, ordinance number 1486, Cedar Lake Storage rezone from M1 Light Industrial to B2 Community Business. Mr. Parker, you mind reading this one by title only, please?
Yeah, let me catch up here. Is it 1486?
Yes, sir.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1486. An ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, for zoning purposes and amending town ordinance number 1402 being the zoning ordinance of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana. Passed and adopted by the town council of the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, the first day of March 2022, and all amendments passed subsequent thereto.
Thank you, sir. Would somebody like to take this, maybe on the plan commission that has some experience in this one, what we did here? This is Cedar Lake Storage, the rezone.
Well, there's a number of things that happen here, it's pretty complicated.
Yeah, I guess you don't.
It's there's multiple uses on this property now, potentially a request for multiple uses. There'll be a tenant, a storage facility, obviously, a rental truck business, U-Haul, I believe it was, and that type of activity plus a potential tenant.
It was about cleaning it up and making sure they didn't have to come back every time.
There has been an awful lot of work done to clean this thing up. It was an old parcel. Former use was a lumber yard. It's had various uses over the years. They've done a lot of work to clean it up. There were some caveats and some contingencies as far as getting the asphalt done. I assume that they're gonna get that done. Weather's been pretty good this year. Looks like we're gonna have it early spring. Maybe they can get that on the schedule and get that done. But I think that is gonna be the last outstanding item that hasn't really been vetted for this particular function.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Attorney Biss is on the Zoom.
Okay.
You may well want to hear him.
Sure. Mr. Biss? Good evening.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, no, I appreciate it, and Mr. Parker's description is an apt description. My clients purchased this several years ago, have invested a significant amount of money, worked closely with the Plan Commission to make a variety of improvements over time. And one of the things we've realized in the last couple of months is that it just didn't make sense that this property be zoned M1, a manufacturing district. We realized it makes more sense that this be a B2 zoning. There's at the front of this forefront a beautiful building that my clients are trying to get a tenant into. By keeping it M1, it would require any potential tenant to come before the BZA and request a variety of approvals. We're just hoping to streamline that process. So what we've submitted is a zone change from M1 to B2, and then recognizing that it's kind of a funky, unique property with some storage and B2 use. That's why we've also put before you a zoning commitment
that prudently restricts, as negotiated with the commission, a variety of limited uses that my clients are able to utilize with the property as well as maintaining the best interests of the town at heart.
All right.
Is there a clerical issue on some of his paperwork on this that needs to be discussed?
It's the next one.
It's the second half?
Commitment and review.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remembered something, I just didn't know which one it was.
Well, there are four. It received favorable to recommend to the town council 7-0. And in my old packet, it was on page 16 and 17. I don't see it in this new package I got. But it's got conditions 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the rezone, and it's going from a light industrial to a business, which I think that's a better classification for it.
And is this cleaned up?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
This was a property that was searching for a use and an end benefit to the community. I think Nathan's been with it for quite a while and has consolidated a lot of the loose thoughts that the property owner had for consolidated use, cohesive use, and the like. The zoning commitment attached to your agenda and in the next part of the agenda reflects those business and use catching up to the property items that we were talking about. We've checked off on those, the planning commission's checked off on those. Any action you take regarding this ordinance should properly consider a condition of the zoning commitment being accepted and approved also. Then this ordinance will be recorded with the zoning commitment and it'll run with the land.
Very good.
They'll have a game plan, the town will have a way to monitor and enforce, and the end result should occur.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Is this a single reading ordinance?
Single reading ordinance.
Okay. Very good. Any other discussion? If not, do we have a motion on ordinance number 1486?
I'll make a motion to approve 1486 Cedar Lake Storage rezone from an M1 light industrial to a B2 community business.
Okay. Bob, would you consider changing approve to adopt?
To adopt.
Thank you.
Along with the along with it being conditional on the zoning commitment being accepted?
Yes, the 4 items that was sent by the president of the planning commission.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Carnahan. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Ms. Rivera to adopt ordinance number 1486 with the condition that the zoning commitment be accepted as well. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Vera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Riccupi?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Number 2, resolution number 1347, Summerfest, 2024 Summerfest resolution. This item was deferred on February 6th as well as February 20th of this year. Do we have any updates on this item?
Do we just discuss this now or wait till it's discussed here?
Is it ready?
Yeah, is it ready, Mary Jo?
No, I attended the AIM meeting in Plainfield, and there are some additional things we'd like to include so that it takes the responsibility off the town, and that is to make sure that anyone who uses the properties, whether it be Summerfest, Farmers Market, Motor on Ice, that they understand that they have to have permits in place for for BMI, the County Health Department, Department of Natural Resources, alcohol and tobacco, NDOT, Homeland Security, which would be an amusement or maybe an entertainment permit, and that would protect the town. And so I'm going to submit that information to Mr. Austin, and we're going to include that in the resolution so that we protect ourselves. So if they do not apply for these things as partners of, that resolution, that's on them, not us.
So it's not ready?
No, it's not right, but it will be. I'm going to get it to him tomorrow.
Okay.
And that meeting was attended by over 200 individuals and 130 communities. So this is a concern throughout the state that towns have to protect themselves. There's permits out there and things that, may have been overlooked that need to be applied for. And fines are very steep. They're not little, they're big fines. So we'll get that taken care of for farmer's market and for Summerfest. Both of them will be included.
And fireworks are July 5th and 6th, right, on Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
Yes, that wasn't in there either, so I just wrote that down here, that I thought those were the dates.
Okay. Are you making a motion, Ms. Dixon, to
I'll
defer
make a motion to defer it.
to March
To March,
19th,
yes.
okay? Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Dixon, seconded by Mr. Becker to defer this item to the March 19th Town Council meeting. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. We have item number 3, resolution number 1349, amending clarifying resolution number 1348, development moratorium. This item was deferred on February 24th of 2024. Is this item missing out of the packet?
It looks like it.
I thought Margaret said she was gonna have it uploaded to the iPads. I'm not sure what happened.
It was in our email, right?
It was I seen it in the email.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my concern was that the public needed to see it last go around, so I'm not sure. Thumbs up if you saw it, thumbs down if you didn't. It's not on there?
No.
Are you guys okay with deferring this until the public gets a chance to view it?
Yeah.
But it's gotta get on there for the next meeting.
It's ready, so it can go on the website.
Okay.
It should be here. Some of you have apparently received it.
Yeah. I seen it today.
I saw
it this afternoon.
Yeah, I have it as well. I don't know why it's not in.
I know you've had it ready for a little while here, Dave. It just hasn't found its way onto.
We're working on that, streamlining
Yes.
and making efficient the delivery.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to defer this to March 19th?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Becker to defer this item till the March 19th meeting, giving the public a chance to view it. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. BZA plan, zoning commitment for Cedar Lake Storage LLC. Mr. Viss, being that we've got you here, do you want to take this one, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is a zoning commitment, as indicated, my client's made the willing move to move from N1 to B2. Recognize again that there's a variety of uses that are present on the property. So the commission prudently requested that we narrow what can be done on the property in terms of its multiple use, as well as then have an enforcement mechanism should that not occur. So what you have before you is a zoning commitment. Number one, it allows multiple business use, which can be B2 use casted at 2 businesses that may occupy the premises, one of which is the owner of the property, and another, for example, that could operate on a business that is, or the building that is up front. Second thing that we had extensive discussion about at the commission level is the fact that there can be a complementary business to the storage business that's on site. This would allow my clients, the owners of the rental facility, to partner with a separate business to allow, for example, like a U-Haul or other company like that to also operate out of the premises, and that wouldn't exceed the 2 business allotment thereon. Third item is then just an allotment that they can place one of those moving trucks for advertising purposes at the far end of the parking lot, and that placement is attached within the exhibit that's attached to this zoning commitment. And then the remainder of it is standard language that Mr. Austin, myself, and town staff have worked through, and I believe, Mr. Austin, this has been completely vetted by your end as well as mine.
That's fact. I've reviewed it and checked off. Subject to your decision making.
Okay, very good. Mr. Viss, I just want to bring one thing to your attention. When if you get a favorable recommendation or a favorable vote on this or not, we need the signature page amended, acceptance signature page. Ms. Dixon's name is missing from the signature page at the end of the zoning commitment. I think she wants to be involved in it, but I don't know.
Spell my name correctly, please.
I will shoulder the blame for that one, Ms. Dixon, so we'll make sure we get updated and sent over to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other discussion or questions on this item?
Yeah, I have a question. So there'll be a whole other separate office then, from what I'm understanding, as far as the second business, or?
Yeah, so Mr. Field, the business or the building that's located at the front, and we had submitted the layout to the commission. There's a variety of offices that are available there. There's a variety of bathrooms there that are available for multi-faceted use. So in essence, the building is built to allow for a multitude of uses within it, so.
So I guess my question is, they would have to then come in for occupancy for whatever business it was gonna be?
Absolutely, all of those rules still absolutely apply, Mr. Bill.
And then as far as the permitting on it, there would be a system development fee for the offices then additional to the existing one?
I'm not sure what the process is for fees, but in terms of the business needing to go into the town hall and requiring proper permits for occupancy and the like, that all applies, and if there are fees that are associated with that, I'm sure those would be required as well.
Yeah, I'm just, asking for the fact that, so the owners know, and that, whoever the potential tenant would be, that they would be aware.
Sure.
Because I know that's, I've come across that myself in the past, so.
Yeah, no, they're open right there in the public, heavily trafficked area. And I know that my clients here, under the scrutiny of the BZ, get a couple other items done, so I think, as town staff can testify to, we've been working very well with town staff for the past 6 months on these items.
Now, would each one of those businesses have their own sewer bill then?
Well, that was, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Becker, clarification was it?
That's pretty much the clarification, and I know what the system development fee just for one additional sewer was, I believe, $4,000 for
Okay,
the B2.
thank you.
Just so they're aware, so.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to accept this zoning commitment?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Becker, seconded by Mr. Teal to accept the zoning commitment for Cedar Lake Storage LLC. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Vera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parkin?
Yes.
Nick Rizzuto?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Viss.
Thank you.
Number 2, Beacon Point, Unit 6, reduction in performance letter of credit in a new amount of $133,733.95.
And Don Oliphant, from Christopher B. Burke, in his letter, recommended this, on January 18th of 2024, and the bank is People's Bank.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. Okay, got some letters submitted, as Bob said, from People's Bank as well as our engineer.
Like it's classified, though, it's heavily redacted on
It sure is, yeah.
It's like something in Biden's garage.
All right. Do we have a motion on this item to approve the reduction?
I'll make that motion.
Anyone like to second it?
Second.
Bob, you're gonna get this one. You're next, Chuck. We have a motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Carnahan, to approve the reduction in performance letter of credit for Beacon Point Unit 6. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 3, Beacon Point Unit 7, reduction in performance letter credit in a new amount of $309,673.13.
And there again, Don Oliphant, Christopher B. Burke, on a letter, January 18th, 2024, recommended this reduction, and it's by People's Bank also.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have a motion on this item?
Make a motion.
To approve? Do we have a second?
Guess I'll second it.
You got it, Chuck.
Oh, sorry, Chuck.
Motion made by Ms. Dixon, seconded by Mr. Becker to approve the reduction in performance letter of credit for Beacon Point Unit Number 7. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 4, Beacon Point East Unit 4, reduction in performance letter of credit in a new amount of $359,608.00.
And there again, Don Oliphant, Christopher B. Burke recommended this. It was his letter of January 17th, 2024, and it is by People's Bank.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? Do we have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Becker and seconded by Mr. Teal to approve this reduction in performance letter of credit for Beacon Point East Unit Number 4. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 7-0, thank you. Number 5, Lakeside Unit 2, Block 1, reduction in performance letter of credit in a new amount of $605,505.40.
And this is also recommended by Don Oliphant from Christopher B. Burke on January 22nd, 2024, and it is through People's Bank.
Thank you again, Bob. Okay. Any discussion? Do we have a motion to approve
So
this
moved.
reduction? Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Rivera, you were 2/100ths of a second faster. We have a motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Rivera to accept or approve the reduction in performance letter of credit for Lakeside Unit 2, Block 1. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon,
Yes.
Richard Seal,
Yes.
Greg Parker.
Yes.
Nick Recupero.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Moving on to old business, number 1, consideration to establish a Metropolitan Police Commission and a Metropolitan Fire Commission and consider eliminating the current Board of Safety. This item was deferred on February 20th of 2024. Any discussion? Are you ready?
I would like to make a motion to defer this item for 2 more weeks for further discussion because we didn't have time to get any discussion in tonight.
Okay. March 19th. Okay, we have a motion to defer to the March 19th Town Council meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Becker to defer this item until the March 19th Town Council meeting. Any discussion?
I have something. So the Board of Safety, they've been asking for a 5th member for the last couple of months. I would like to amend the agenda to vote on a 5th member for the Board of Safety. Even if we decide to go with a police commission and a fire commission, we still need 5 members on each.
I don't see why that couldn't wait 2 more weeks till we have some discussion about this. It's waited this long.
Yeah, but we still need a 5th person.
They've been asking for it, yeah.
Well, I've also had people that tell me they've been operating just fine without the 5th member, so I get 2 differing opinions on this matter.
Well, we met with them in exec in January, they asked for it, so
Yeah.
I don't see the harm in appointing one, but.
When we advertised well, we advertised in December for the January appointments, and there were some folks that reached out to me that didn't get appointed. You know, obviously, we had, 26 or something like that appointments. And I told a couple of them that when we go to appoint that fifth member, if we do that, I promised folks that we would advertise for it. So,
Advertise again?
yeah, with the amount of time. So, I mean, you know, you guys obviously, the majority wins, but I just, if I promise somebody something, I have to carry through on it.
Yeah, I had a discussion with Rich earlier. I don't want to have to be the tiebreaker on this thing, and if you force me into it tonight, there's probably gonna be some people that aren't gonna be happy. So, just throwing that out there.
Well, we do have a motion and a second on the floor on this item. So I'd like to conduct roll call on this item in particular.
To amend the agenda?
No, this was to defer the item.
This is to defer,
We're still
yeah, we already had
voting.
motions on that.
Yeah. Yep, roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
No.
Julie Rivera?
No.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
No.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupedo?
Yes, motion carries 4-3. New business, approval for the police department's new hire, Matthew Milan, favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety on February 28th, 2024. Chief Fisher?
Council, 2 weeks ago, we had an officer that resigned and went back to his former department. Just basically said he missed it. So we want to replace that officer and bring us back up full staff. We have Matthew Milan. He was interviewed by the police. He went through the whole process, interviewed by the police board and the Board of Safety, was the #1 pick. Local Cedar Lake resident, former Marine, and a brand new hire, so we teach him our way before he gets corrupted. Matt, you want to stand up for me, please? This is Matthew Milan.
All right.
He's a bulldog.
Okay. All right. And you know, any of the new hires, if they ever want to come up here and speak, say something.
Matt, I told you you're more than welcome to if you'd like.
Yeah. We don't want to put you in an uncomfortable position, but we
And
want to
just
welcome
for
you.
your information, this is only to get approval to start the FERC process since there's a cost to it.
Okay, gotcha.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matthew Milan, 6209 West 136th Avenue. 23 years old, about to turn 24. I spent the last 13 years living in Cedar Lake and spent 5 years in the Marine Corps. Recently got out, and now I just want to serve the community.
Very good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So this would be approval for the new hire to start the PERF process?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Ms. Rivera, to approve the hiring process, PERF process for Matthew Milan for the police force. Any discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupedo?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 2, consider approval to move forward with the purchase of 4 police department vehicles. This item received favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety on February 28th of 2024.
Council, I started the process this year. We saw 5 different vendors for police vehicles, for 4 police vehicles, Fords and Dodgers. The best price, locally, James Auto had the near lowest price, it was a $300 difference. So I presented to the Board of Safety to use James Auto this time for the first time, since their prices were competitive. And we want to move forward with the purchase of 4 new police vehicles.
Durangos, is that what they
Yes,
would
sir.
be? Yeah, okay.
Chief, I had a phone call earlier with a question on how many miles the vehicles that you're replacing are. Are you taking 4 out?
One's got a blown motor, so it's done. The others are right around 100,000 miles, and they don't get taken out. We move them into full cars.
Okay, so you're
Some of these that are back
moving
here,
three,
we're about to,
you're moving three into a pool position, one has a blown engine.
that's correct.
Okay, that answers the question. Thanks.
We have about, three that have way too many miles that are back there. We're still using those pool cars simply because we're waiting for the next cycle. And then once we get those next pool cars in, we'll put those on gov deals and auction them off, or, historically, we've given them to other departments to use until they're unusable anymore, so. Street department, has used them, and fire department, so on and so forth, so.
Very good.
But the plan for those is to sell them? Is that what you just said?
The ones we're replacing, no, they'll become pool cars.
No, the one, and then you said there's some in the back that will be.
The ones that are in the back, yeah, so we'll be cycling those older models out and we've historically sold them on gov deals, it's an auction site,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all.
The last one, we had I wanna say it was 140,000 miles, we got like $3,600 for it, so. We're excited, and the guy drove it to, like Iowa or something. Okay, yeah.
Not just the miles, though, you guys have a lot of hours.
There's a lot of idle time.
Yes.
But they know that up front. It's a police car, it's got idle time. When the policeman's sitting on the side of the road, the car's running, you can't turn it off, so they get too much computer stuff going, so.
Thank you, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 4 police department vehicles from James Auto.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Becker to approve the purchase of 4 police vehicles from James Auto here in Cedar Lake. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Peel?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Number 3, approval for the fire department to hire 2 full-time employees. Connor Riley, firefighter EMT, and Mark Whitlock, firefighter EMT. This item received a favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety on February 28, 2024. Chief Wilkening?
Connor Riley is here tonight. Connor Riley started as a volunteer with our department. Is currently works part-time for our department and was on our hiring list and made it through the process with the Board of Safety as well. Mark Whitlock, and we'll be asking you to start the process for him tonight. Number 2, Mark Whitlock, he is a firefighter EMT. He's currently in paramedic school. We are going to ask you to allow us to start the process on him as well, but he has to complete a CPAT, physical agility test prior, and bring us a card. So I would ask that it would be contingent upon that.
Okay. And these are two new additional hires that we approved.
Yes.
So what does that bring your staffing up to on full-time on?
16, but I currently have one off on an injury. He's been off for quite a while, so.
Okay. This will put us at 16?
It'll put us at 16 full-time, including chief monitoring.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Sandberg, I know we had discussions earlier this year regarding budgets and stuff like that. Everything, we're all clear on all that stuff? The money's gonna be there?
Technically, the 2 new hires were contemplated in the 2024 budget.
Okay.
Why do you use the term technically?
Because the base salary is there within the budget, but if there is anything related to, say, overtime, it depends on how often they're worked, how many shifts they pick up, whether or not the budget will stay in line.
Okay, so the money's there as long as we're responsible with staffing and overtime.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Doing the best we can.
I get it, so I just want to make sure everybody understands technically. Unfortunately, it's red flags.
Okay.
Well, and item number 4 is designed to help you with that. Okay. All right.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2 new hires with the contingency on the
CPAT, yeah.
CPAT agility test? Okay, and that would be just for Mark Whitlock, or is that for both of them?
No, Mark Whitlock, Conor Riley produced a actual, card for it, yeah.
Okay.
We can do these at the same time, right?
Yeah, I believe so, right, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, motion for both of those items, Mr. Teal?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it. I have a question though about this. Are we doing A and B on item number 3, or are we adding 4 into that?
Just A and B on
Okay.
item number 3.
All right, then I don't have a question. It'll be on the next one.
Okay, very good. Motion made by Mr. Teal, seconded by Mr. Parker to approve the, fire department to hire 2 full-time employees, Conor Riley, firefighter EMT, and Mark Whitlock, firefighter EMT, with the contingency that he, completes his CPAT, physical agility test. Any discussion?
I have Conor Riley here tonight, so after the vote, if you'd like to hear from him, that'd be great.
Sure, absolutely. Okay. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Hughes?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recuto?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Chief Wilson?
Conor, vote.
Good evening.
Hi.
Conor Riley, 13617 West 117th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. I've been an active member in the department since 2022, and I plan to continue my career here with the department by taking the next step and going full-time. My goal in the near future is to become an active paramedic and continue aiding in the department. And thank you for the consideration.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Riley.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
To let you know, we'll be budgeting next year for him to go to paramedic school.
Okay. Very good. All right. Number 4, approval for the fire department to hire 2 part-time employees. This item received favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety on February 28th of 2024. The 2 individuals would be Jenna Reinhout, firefighter EMT, and Anthony Van Auken, firefighter paramedic. Chief Wilkeny? Did I pronounce those?
Yeah, you did, actually. You're one of the few people that...
I got practice with my last name.
Jenna has also been an active volunteer with us. She wants to move into the part-time position so that she can also seek, she'll be helping us cover shifts, which will help us with our overtime. And she is also planning on continuing her career in the fire service as well as a career firefighter, EMT / future possible paramedic. Anthony Van Auken was on our department as a full-time firefighter for a couple, 2 or 3 years. He took a job in Crown Point and currently is a volunteer with us, but he wants to help us as well with part-time shifts. And he lives in Utopia, so he's a local kid as well. So I'm asking for a favorable recommendation to add those to our part-time positions in the department.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any discussion? Are these individuals here, Chief Wilkins?
They're not.
No, okay.
How many part-timers that bring you up to?
I don't remember. Maybe
Got a rough idea, active part-timers?
6 or 8.
And they're, everybody's active right now? Everybody's participating?
A couple of them may not be, but yes, for the most part, yes.
Okay. Ballpark's good.
If I'd have known you were to ask that question, I would have had your answer. Because I think we have 4 that are really active. Well, we're going to lose Conor Riley as one of our really active members, so. But we're hoping to put Jenna right into that spot to be able to help as well, so.
Okay.
Sandra?
Yes, sir.
We're all good with this one, too? These ones?
Same caveat as the previous item.
Okay.
Technically?
Technically, as long as we plan accordingly and keep ourselves in check, we should be fine.
Well, Chief Wilkeny, we've had discussions about trying to alleviate the pressure on the overtime, and there was a kind of a path forward that was planned, and getting some part-timers on there was part of it, and of course managing the hours in the budget, but that's kind of been the thought here, right? So what was your phrase, solution to the...
Solution to the pollution is dilution.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So you dilute the hours with more people.
Okay.
And then nobody gets, well, but then you don't have part-timers at overtime, and then you have the full-timers, there's options for the part-timers to cover the full-timers' overtime shifts.
Okay.
So, it's all gonna contribute and help. It's not gonna eliminate it by no means, but it's gonna help.
Very good. Any other discussion? If not, do we have a motion on these items together?
So moved.
Okay. Motion to approve the hires, do we have a second?
I will second.
Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Teal to approve the, to allow the fire department to hire 2 part-time employees. Any discussion?
I got one more thing, I just got a text from one of our guys that's watching this, who's at the station, looking at the roster. So we have 5 that are very active and 2 that they pick up shifts here and there.
Part-timers, so
Yeah.
total of 7 is of this?
Yeah, and, well, I should say 6, with Riley being eliminated from the part-time, so, yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion and a second. Do we have a roll call, please?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 5, acceptance of easement at 14509 Wheeler Street. This is a storm board project. Who's taking this torch? This,
I believe this is related to the Storm Board Gibbons project.
okay.
I'm trying to remember which one this is.
Mellow Cars.
Is it?
By Wheeler Street on 141st.
Or 45th and Wheeler.
It's just the next,
Yeah, I believe this is.
second house in.
Malachar property?
Right. It's like the second house in south.
Do you have anything on this, Tim, or?
This is just an easement, we've been needing to do a stormwater project for the storm board, and the Gibbons is the house on the corner of 145th and Wheeler, the Malachar house is the next house to the south. This easement will allow us to put a catch basin in between the 2 properties and get the stormwater into the ditch where it needs to go instead of right through the middle of the yard.
Yeah, I remember now.
A mess.
Okay. Mr. Austin, we're all good on legal end?
We are, I prepared the easement.
Okay. Very good. Okay, do we have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to accept the easement at 14509 Wheeler Street for a storm board project.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion made by Ms. Dixon, seconded by Ms. Rivera to accept the easement at 14509 Wheeler Street for a storm board project. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 6, acceptance of easement at 14022 Sherman Street for the Shades Project. Mr. Kubiak, you want to fill us in on this one too, if you can?
This is for the Shades project, I don't know exactly where this is, but this is for the drainage on the Shades project.
The one that's currently going on right now?
45th and Sherman, correct.
Okay.
For phase 2.
Okay. Very good. Sherman and 141st Avenue in that vicinity?
Yeah, no, 140th, but yes,
Yeah.
in that vicinity.
Correct.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
You will be seeing easements coming up in the next couple of meetings. We're in process of collecting signatures.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir.
And that's been going on for a long time with the Alltops. They built a new house in the middle, and both the north and south houses were getting flooded. And so this has been a plan to help alleviate some of the flooding out there. And Mr. Alltop came in here the other day because he found some concerns, and he told me that he showed them and it was acceptable now.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Carnahan. If there's no more discussion, do we have a motion to accept this easement?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Rich? Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Teal, to accept the easement at 14022 Sherman Street for the Shades Project. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jen.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 7, conflict of interest disclosure statement from Mr. Richard Teal.
What are you conflicted about?
Join the club.
You want me to read it?
You wanna read it?
Yeah, I'll read it.
All right.
So basically, if we drop down to, I believe, page 2, description of the interest, Midwest PGM purchases scrap metal from the town. We do issue checks on a monthly basis to the town for that metal that we purchase. At times, if there's usable metal, we have traded that scrap for the usable metal for the town. One of the examples was light poles that were utilized over at the town grounds here. Another one, as is resale shop, has sold signs to Public Works for construction ahead signs. And then third and final, Industrial Drive Properties has purchased land from the town through the bidding process in the past.
Okay. I have a legal question. What happens if we don't accept Rich's conflict?
Would it be a common sense thing to send, say, all the scrap metal to SMS or somewhere like that, and drive an hour and 15 minutes away? Is there another scrapyard in town?
Really?
It's government, Dave, so I have to question it, and it never makes sense.
That might be the best uniform conflict of interest disclosure I've heard. And I've heard a lot of them.
Thank you, Rich.
That's exactly what you should be doing.
Thanks, Rich.
Shame on you for being productive.
I'll make a motion to, if you want me to.
Yes, ma'am.
To accept the conflict of interest disclosure from Rich Teal.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Ms. Dixon, seconded by Ms. Rivera to accept Mr. Teal's conflict of interest disclosure statement. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item 8, consider a letter of request from the Unsafe Building Department Hearing Authority. Mr. Teal, are you taking this, or, I know we've discussed this before.
Yeah, I just had to get to it first. I was still writing notes.
Take your time. We're ahead of schedule. We got another 3 hours or so.
This one's redacted. Why are we redacting everything now? Why do we have these big black marks on here?
I don't know, you probably couldn't make my signature out anyway. I did not do that.
Counteract terrorism, sir.
Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is.
I can't even copy my own signature. So basically what this is, I've mentioned it to you guys in the past, some of the ordinances, it's been since 1979 with the unsafe building. The fact that there was no fund ever created, there was an ordinance, I believe 291 was the ordinance.
1978, ordinance 291.
For the unsafe non-reverting fund, it was never created. So instead of just creating the fund, I've spoke with Jennifer, instead of just taking the money that's normally allocated in the general funds for unsafe and just putting it there to put it there, State Board of Accounts usually frowns upon it. And since I'd like to see us redoing the ordinance to clean it up a little bit, to help as far as alleviate a lot of people coming in front of the unsafe building. If it's like a general nuisance or something like that through the process now, we're running into plan commission meetings, 30 minutes into a plan commission meeting because there's so much on it. So if we could alleviate some of that by coming up with an ordinance as far as putting a fee schedule on it. Let's say it's something that's a general nuisance and it can be handled through fine, building permits and stuff like that, that we need to kind of clean things up that way.
I think it's a great idea. So is this an instruction to Mr. Austin, or is this?
Yes, pretty much, that's pretty much it, right, Dave? It's just,
That's what we talked about.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Clean it up, make it work.
clean it up, make it work, and,
Be efficient.
yeah.
Okay, I like it. Any other discussion? Do we have a motion, on this item?
So moved.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Becker, seconded by Ms. Rivera to, approve the letter from the Unsafe Building Department Hearing Authority and authorize Attorney Austin to, clean up and update these ordinances. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Seal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Council, please do not expect this March 19th. The
Yeah.
ordinances that exist are in the 20s of pages. They're incredibly voluminous. Rich and I talked about that also. And we're going to use the home rule statute to build in some fine schedules, penalties, transportation to the clerk's office and the non-reverting fund, and things of that nature. So this will take a little bit of time.
No problem. I appreciate everybody's work on this item, cleaning it up. Okay, number 9, consider a waiver request from the developmental moratorium to build a single-family residence on plus or minus 2.5 acre parcel at 6949 to 6970 and 7001 West 126th Avenue. We've got a letter here from Unique Design and Build, and they're asking for relief from our moratorium that we adopted several weeks back. This particular parcel is subject to the moratorium, which wouldn't allow them to build on it because it's over an acre. Has this been an item that's been a plan commission item?
No.
It hasn't even been to the plan? We have some...
I'm from the builder who wrote the letter.
Okay, yeah, would you mind stepping up, sir, and state your name and address for the record and give us a little bit of information here?
Corey Creek, 3705 Elio Way, Valparaiso.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, please let us know what you got going on here.
So basically, this project, well, it was about a year before we finally were able to find a parcel for this client. We've been searching, Crown Point, Cedar Lake. And this parcel came available in December. Came on the market, they bought it the same day, in December of '23. We immediately started working with Teranga to start the engineering aspects of it. And in February, you guys passed the moratorium, which made the property unbuildable. So what I'm asking for is you could allow us to move forward. It's only one house in the property. We're not looking for outbuildings, we're not looking for any additional structures, one single-family residence.
Okay. Would this property be connected to the town water utility or a private well?
We do believe that we have access to the sewer, but we will be on a private well.
Okay. Mr. Austin, do you have anything for us on this?
This is actually what I envisioned when I drafted the exception portion of your developmental moratorium. If we'd have read that tonight, you'd have heard this exception. It's single-family home on 2.2 or 2.5 acres. Holy smokes.
I would consider that a pre-platted lot.
It could be, but it doesn't need to even get there, given the size of the lot, and it's residential, and only one home will be built on it, et cetera. So, what do we call that today? An estate-sized parcel. And Rich and I talked about it.
We go before council tomorrow for concept, start the process moving forward, but we kind of have a crook in the road right now to get.
Plan commission tomorrow?
Yeah, we start tomorrow.
Okay.
It's a one-lot subdivision.
Okay, okay.
And they won't subdivide it into two lots down the road? Okay, thank you.
There'll be, in fact,
There'll probably be contingency on that,
There'll be a
not
commitment, zoning commitment or a planning commitment for that.
I would anticipate that there'll be a commitment that it can't be subdivided again.
That won't be a problem.
And that's one of the conditions in, the town zoning ordinance 1402 about, large-sized legacy lots, if you will, or for the pre-platted lots.
I don't know why.
That continual avoidance of the law by taking pieces at a time is prohibited. They'll have that restriction.
All right, anything else to add, sir? No. Okay. Any other questions for this gentleman? Okay, thank you very much for coming in. Thanks for coming tonight.
If this is an action item, may I suggest that any action considered be subject to plan commission approval and that there be no further subdividing of the parcel.
Okay. Any council discussion on this item? Obviously, as Mr. Austin said, we kind of had to draw a line with the parcel sizes, and the resolution gave us some leeway to use our discretion on some of these items.
That's right.
I like the fact that it's one house on that size acreage and not like 5 or 6.
Yeah, absolutely. More green space.
Yeah.
Less cars on the road.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Do we have a motion on this item?
Can I ask one quick question? I realize this, I'm kind of out of turn here, but, does the city utility then go up, Fairbanks? Up to that corner?
Goes all the way, it does, the water does.
Say that again?
Just as an FYI, I was just curious to see how close the city or municipal water utility would run in relation to this property.
You know, Tim, where it's at?
It does run there, I think that's part of the proposed loop.
Yeah, the water is at the apartment building there on Colfax and Fairbanks and R26. It dead ends right there at that apartment building.
So to run it down around the corner to where this is at, yeah, that'd be cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Eventually someday, when the east and west get tied together, it will probably pass by
I'm glad you said someday, because
eventually.
looking at some numbers before this meeting, that's,
Someday.
It's close by, so you say, Rick.
It's a good turkey.
it sure is.
All right.
I forgot what the contingencies needed to be on this. Can somebody refresh my memory?
So just a plan commission approval
Plan commission,
and that it not be subdivided? Is that where?
not further subdivided. Is that it?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to grant the waiver request from the developmental moratorium to build a single-family residence on a 2.5 acre plus parcel at 6949 through 70 and 7001 West 126th Avenue, contingent on plan commission approval and contingent on it not being further subdivided.
And contain a well? You're gonna build a well?
You'll have to meet our subdivision ordinance.
Yeah, it's gonna probably have to have that anyway. If you want it, if it needs to be in there, I'll do it.
It doesn't need, it's just part of the planning process.
Okay.
So then we'll get acted on.
Fair enough.
I'll second.
Okay, great motion and second. Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Keel to approve this waiver request as Mr. Parker had stated. Any discussion on the item? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Joan Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Keel?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you again for coming in, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Number 10, Title VI update, updating Title VI coordinator to our current town manager, Mr. Jeff Bungie. If you'd like to take this one, Jeff?
Well, from what I understand, it's just kind of an administrative thing. Somebody in the town's gotta be, your ADA Title VI coordinator, and, I believe our last town manager was that person, so the torch has been passed on to me, I guess, so to speak.
Okay. Very good. Any questions on this item or discussion? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Becker, to update Title VI Coordinator to current Town Manager, Mr. Jeff Bungie. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Jo Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupedo?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Okay. Okay, reports, Town Council.
Yes. Last week, Rich Teal, Kevin Toth, myself, and Bill Gores got to attend the Lake County Election Board Challenge hearings. And y'all remember Randy Niemeyer, used to be the town council president here, sat in the middle, really liked attention. He's got a real important job over there, enforcing election rules and rule of law. And we got to witness his passion for enforcing those laws and rules. And after we got to attend that, I got inspired, because I'm pretty passionate about enforcing rules for people who pay the bills around here. And in 2022, when he was here in town council president, what happened was that town council decided to take $4.4 million of sewer funds, which is against the rules. State Board of Accounts called it. Sewer money is used for sewer. It's not used for anything else. You borrow from sewer funds, you're supposed to pay those back. Those are the rules, and I think it's kind of the law, isn't it?
Depends on the question.
Well, so I listened to the presentation, and I got inspired. And I thought to myself, along the way here, there's $2.9 million left in the Eco Restoration Fund. And 2 draws, I believe, came out, and I have some notes here that I'm going to cite in a minute. 2 draws adding up to $4.4 million. Obviously, there's not enough money to replace $4.4 million in the sewer fund, but we certainly could do the $2.1 million draw. And I feel like now there's been talk that there's going to be other funding sources and things of that nature for the eco restoration, and I think that's great if folks want to contribute. Clea wants to do some stuff. Somebody wants to put some gas in the tank, keep that thing going. I think if those options happen, that's wonderful. But I think from a responsible standpoint, based on some of the things that we keep finding and the current situation of things, and my passion for the rules that Randy has inspired, I think it's time that we consider putting that $2.1 million back in the sewer fund. So I would like to amend the agenda tonight to consider just that.
Well, we're amending agendas now? I thought we weren't going to do that.
Well, I think because of my inspiration that and I'm throwing it out there, I want to make a motion that we amend the agenda to consider a resolution for that. And that's my motion.
Where's that ethics jar that we're going to put money into?
Well, we'll get that ethics jar, and we'll put it up here.
What is going on?
And I'll throw a 20 in it the next meeting.
What is going on? How are we going to pay back the Lair grant? How are we going to pay back Clea?
How are we gonna add sewer capacity with no money?
a residential TIF, which I sent you all information on. Lowell passed it 5-0. They have the money to do the expansion now.
Well, I'm glad they do, we don't.
We would if we.
If
passed the
we would if we hadn't been
residential TIF,
we would if we hadn't been irresponsible and used our money for something that it wasn't allowed to be used for.
But it was allowed, and it was discussed.
Actually, it was not allowed. The action that was taken was not a legal action. It was called by the State Board of Accounts. The only thing that there isn't is a provision to hold anybody responsible for taking it, and that's the truth.
Mr. Austin, was this not vetted by financial and legal?
It was. The previous council, your council, checked off on it because of that.
Because it was vetted. It wasn't a pie in the sky, we didn't just pull this out of thin air, that we could use those funds. And it was discussed several times in 2022 and 2023 in public meetings.
The only thing I can say in addition to that is that there is an interpretation in question.
I understand. I saw the interpretation and I question it.
We didn't get dinged by the State Board of Accounts, by the Attorney General, by whoever else got complaints.
Well, that's unfortunate, but somebody around here should start doing the right thing other than just with election law.
Those are two different things, Mr. Parker.
I understand that they're two different things, but the principle and the theory and my inspiration is exactly the same. I have a passion for doing the right thing for the citizens that live here and the ones that are paying the freight, and other people have a passion for other things.
But we will not have the ratepayers pay for this if we...
The ratepayers have been paying for it
without
their permission. And not only that, we took the ratepayers' money and we put it into that, and we built a building out here that we know we don't have water for, and we broke the rules or bent the rules to keep from doing a referendum to do just that. That's what happened here.
And that's, we could talk forever about the buildings and the water. It will have water.
It will have water, we just don't know when and what it's gonna cost the ratepayers, so nobody gives a damn about the ratepayers, so.
Yes, we do, and that's why everybody needs to get informed on residential TIF. Please watch the last two Lowell
I made a
Town
motion.
RDC moves. Please do not do this.
Mr.
This is not
President,
available to the public.
please consider my motion.
There's a motion to amend the agenda to consider this item. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Parker, seconded by Mr. Teal.
And we're just gonna let
To amend-
everything that's been done
Ma'am,
already to the
ma'am,
lake.
Ma'am, to amend the agenda to consider this item. Here we go. Discussion.
This is being done for all the wrong reasons.
It was done to begin with for all the wrong reasons.
It was not, it was to improve the town. We have a beautiful lake, and all this work that's been done on it. How are we gonna pay back
Should
Leah?
we have public comment since we amended the agenda?
Well, this is discussion, I thought.
Well, we'll have
I just wanted to make sure we get public comment before there's any vote.
Very good, Rich. Yeah, okay. We will open the floor up to public comment on the topic of the sewer funds being in the lake ecosystem, fund. Would anybody here from the public like to speak? Please come on up, one at a time, state your name and address for the record.
Jerry Wilkening, 10826 West 131st Avenue. Mr. Rivera, I heard you say, how are we gonna pay CLIA back?
Right.
What are we paying CLIA for?
They gave us about $400,000.
We're paying it back to them?
Well, if we're canceling this lake project,
Nobody said cancel.
if we put the money back in the sewer, we will not have the money to fix
So your interpretation is that we should pay CLIA back?
There's all kinds of things that's gonna happen. We're gonna get sued
No, but
by
that
Dredge America.
that particular statement.
Well, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I didn't know about this until right now. If I had time to prepare, I'm sure I'd have a list of things that are gonna go
Okay.
wrong.
All right,
if we
that's
don't
all
finish
I
this
had.
project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public like to speak on this item? Anybody else?
Folks, if you're gonna have a chance to get your money back, you're gonna have to get it before it's spent. If it gets spent, you're never getting it back.
Mr. Parker, we need to conduct a roll call on this, amending of the agenda.
Well, we're still doing discussion.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to agree with Julie, I wish we had known more about this, that this was being put out here, because I don't think it's fair that the information wasn't out for the public either, not alone people on the board. So I just want to say that I really wish I'd had more information about this.
Well, I tried to reach out to you the other day, and I wasn't able to get in contact with you. I did have some discussion with some folks about it, and I just feel like it's the right thing to do, and I feel like if we don't get it now, we're never gonna get it.
We
It's
talk
gonna be
about
gone.
being transparent, but, the citizens, they weren't aware either.
This is a big deal.
I understand it's a big
There's a
deal.
lot of implications.
It was a big deal when the sewer fund got looted. I thought that was a big deal.
But this was talked about in January 2022, March 2022.
I understand that, and there's, Julie,
July.
there's rules. There were rules that were broken. I mean, we hear all these things about rules and laws
It
and
was
rule of
way
law,
more-
but it's just
You're
used.
talking about what happened with the Board of Elections, and it doesn't have anything to do.
That has nothing to do with the board, it just the rules inspired me, Julie, that's all. It has nothing to do with that. That's just where I got my inspiration from, the rules. Rules are
There it
important.
goes, folks, right there. Don't do this. Do not do this. Let this, do it the right way.
I want to do the right thing. I've wanted to do the right
This isn't the
thing.
right thing, and if it was the wrong thing, we would have gotten cited, our legal, our financial advisors,
Well,
people made complaints to
And-
the Attorney General, and nothing,
again, all I'm asking for tonight is to amend the agenda to consider a resolution. Mr. Austin would have to draft the resolution, and the resolution would have to be heard at a later date for a vote. Am I correct?
In a public meeting.
In a public meeting.
Mr. Austin, if we don't have the money to pay Dredge America, could they sue us?
Well, anybody can sue.
They're already out there, they brought their equipment back.
Julie, anybody can sue.
Well, we know that.
The exact circumstances, and we need to know what's in the Dredge America contract. It's permitted in that contract for termination of the agreement to be made. That's in there. So, the fact pattern is really important to the question.
So, just to draft a resolution tonight.
So we have a motion and a second to amend the agenda to discuss drafting of a resolution. We have our discussion, we get roll.
It's gonna be like no final decisions tonight.
Yeah, I mean, my take on this, we're amending the agenda to consider some kind of action on this, right?
Yeah, to ask Mr. Austin to draft a resolution that we can take action on in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So that I'm not speculating if, well, I'm sorry, I interrupted your process. You need to continue your deliberation. I have a question about what the resolution is to contain, if it's to contain anything.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're okay. So we would have to have, if that's gonna be, part of this amendment, then we have to have another vote on actually, instructing you to draft a resolution, if that's.
You don't necessarily need another vote if you're directing me, but the parameters of what you seek to be contained, or what a majority of you seek to be contained, more specifically, is what I would need to draft.
Specifically, Ecosystem Restoration Non-Reverting Fund 807, remove $2.1 million from that fund and put it back into Fund 633 Wastewater Treatment Special Fund. That takes it from where it went and puts it back where it came from and where it's supposed to be. And the Eco Restoration still received a benefit of $2.3 million from the sewer fund that we can't recover.
That helps.
Okay, so your motion's to amend the agenda and instruct Attorney Austin to draft the resolution to transfer the $2.1 million from the Lake Ecosystem Fund to the Wastewater Treatment Plant Special Fund?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Teal, are you still seconding that motion?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right.
So will the public have a chance?
Absolutely.
For the next meeting?
Sure. And this ain't gonna be ready by the next meeting, right?
It'll be tight.
I just wanna make sure that we're not, rushing anything, that whether it be in 30 days or whatever, just so there's an understanding, knowing that everything that...
I think it's important, Rich, and everybody, that before equipment starts getting moved.
But I agree, I just want to make sure Dave has adequate time to get that, knowing all the other easements and everything else that's going on right now, and pressing by the 19th. I just want to see if it's feasible.
It is feasible, but if you would consider putting it out 4 weeks, not 2, that would be helpful. I have some work to do with your clerk.
Advertising, I'm assuming,
Maybe transfer resolution might be required as an SBOA
Well,
check off. So there are things that just...
I want to be clear, I'm not proposing stopping the echo restoration. I am proposing getting our $2.1 million back. If somebody wants to fund the echo restoration and continue to fund it, whether that comes from the state, the county, private people, CLIA, whatever, the echo restoration continues. I just don't think we should be using our sewer money for it.
Do we have a meeting set up with State Senator Rick Niemeyer?
That still should continue in my view.
Huh?
That should be considered still in my view.
From what I understand, we were hoping to do that at the end of this month when I met with Rick.
End of February.
March.
Oh, March?
In the end of March.
They're in session, right?
Yeah, when they get out of session, because believe that the DNR was gonna come in and we were gonna try to do a special public meeting at the same time, when I sat down, I don't know what the date was, I'd have to look at my calendar, but, I had a meeting with Rick over at Harriel's on a Sunday and, discussing the same thing as far as additional funds. Those funds though, however, would not be available till possibly 2026.
If available at all. My concern and my thought process for all this is once the and by the way, we don't have the money to finish the West Side Sewer Interceptor as it is right now because our sewer money's gone. But, if we spend $2.9 million this year, which is what's left in the fund, which $2.1 million of it is definitely sewer money, and there is no further funding that comes in, we're never, ever going to get that money back. We're just going to get bills. We're just going to get bills, and we're going to continue to get bills. And unless you're a lakefront property owner, it's not a lot of benefit to folks that are living there.
I have an opinion on this matter too, the legal and the rule stuff aside, and I've made this clear in public meetings this year. And to be clear, for the record, I voted no to transfer that $4.4 million into that fund last year. I just didn't think that was right. So I think that it was a bad policy call, okay? And we're in the midst right now of, we have the JMOB meetings, we have future expansion down at Lowell, and I've talked to plenty of people about this, and I don't know how you folks feel here and listening, but how do I justify it as a policymaker coming to you for more money for expansion of that wastewater treatment plant while we had an opportunity to transfer that money from a fund I don't think it ought to be in back to where it should be, and have you guys double pay on this? I can't honestly do that in good faith, and like I said, it's a bad policy call, and I think a lot of people have been waiting for something to be done with this, because I understand the lake cleaning up, and everybody wants to see a clean lake, but I can quantify the benefits and the cons of having that money transferred out. You can't quite quantify what that clean lake's gonna do for the average resident here that frankly isn't really concerned about the lake. So, that's my stance on it. It will always be my stance, and for the record, that's where I'm at on it.
I would just like to say I haven't looked at it, but I just got a message from somebody from Northwest Indiana Regional Planning, and they think they've got a grant that we can go after for the sewer plant.
Alright.
So I'll look at that later, but that's good news.
I don't know how much the grant is, but we need one about $17 million if we get our money back from the actual restoration. We still need $17 million at minimum.
We don't need to
And that's a drop in the bucket compared to what we just heard about the water before this meeting, of what we're gonna have to spend millions of dollars of these folks' money to just make things work because of poor, awful planning here in the last couple of years. Not to mention how it's gonna affect public safety and some of the things for you guys coming down the pipe. The town is not in good shape financially. At some point, this has to stop. It has to stop. So,
Yes, ma'am.
On the west side interceptor, we do not have the funds to continue that?
The West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor is paid for out of Fund 631, which is wastewater development. So Phase 1 is taken care of as we're finishing out that project. Phase 2 and Phase 3 design is also being paid for out of there. When it comes to actual construction of any further phases after Phase 1, that is discussion that has always been there. I imagine that, you know, whatever that Phase 2 construction amount actually is.
$3.5 million.
So there wouldn't be enough at this time. There's only $2.3 million in the wastewater development fund. So there was discussion previously about Phase 2 and Phase 3 and any further phases being bonded for.
It's just, you know, we've been in a phase right now where we're trying to get a lay of the land, and I've talked with several folks in under the tent and not under the tent, and I'm trying to figure out how the heck this stuff was gonna be paid for, some of these projects. I mean, we haven't even got into talking about a new town hall, and it's like, how are we gonna pay for all this stuff? And I keep hearing TIF, but TIF is years out. There's projects.
Even if we did it, it would be 20 years before there was a return on it, and most of it would go to developers, and it would rob the school and the teachers of funding.
We could give the schools 10%, 15%. Talk to the Lowell Town Council, please. They just vetted this and went through this.
I'm sure they did.
They just don't know how to call back on a J-Mob meeting, no.
No, but the town, I'm talking about councilmen. I'm not talking about the other parties there.
All right. Well, we have the motion and a second. As stated earlier, we've had discussion. I would like to conduct roll call on this item, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
No.
Chuck Becker?
Yes.
Mary Joan Dixon?
No.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
Yes.
Nick Recupido?
Yes, motion carries 5-2.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Rivera, for the record, I am not, in my capacity as town council president, I'm not stopping the agenda from being amended, so if you would like to amend the agenda for anything.
Well, I tried earlier.
Well, I know, but we had a motion and a second on the floor for the board of safety stuff, so I don't want you to think that.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to appoint a fifth member of the Board of Safety.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julia Rivera?
Yes.
Chuck Becker?
No.
Mary Joan Dixon?
Yes.
Richard Teal?
Yes.
Greg Parker?
No.
Nick Recupido?
No, motion carries 4-3. Mr. Rivera, the floor is yours.
I would like to, I think Richard Teal has an idea.
Well, I would rather, I do, since then, I thought of other, candidates as well. As mentioned earlier, when Nick said that we should possibly reopen, the application process just because of the timing of it and everything. So I would rather retract my first statement from who I was, wanting to appoint, especially when I made that statement, that was before, the matter that was brought to my attention about an applicant who was not in our packet. And so just with all of that being said, I would, I have no problem with amending the agenda for it. Appointing the fifth person, I still believe in that, but I still, I would rather it go back up for, application, just to be on the fair playing field for everybody. You know, just for the reason that, you know, Adam Warnhoff his packet, for some reason, wasn't in our packet. I know I made the recommendation for somebody else before, but I think we should just open it back up to, for the application process again.
Okay.
7 days, 10 days, what are you thinking?
I think we should have some, and do this in 2 weeks. I don't see that being a problem, is it, or does that need to be longer for an application process?
It's completely up to you guys, you know, if
We have the transition administrative assistant.
Yeah.
And we gotta give them a little time. And in all fairness to Julie, I don't want to take your thunder here or anything, but I'd like you to be involved in this too, as you amended the agenda, this discussion.
I mean, if no one has any other nominations, I'd like to nominate Larry Nagy. I'm just going over who applied last time. I don't want to throw out the other applicants and from before, and then not know that we're taking applications again. So that's my nomination, if no one.
Okay. So we have a nomination to appoint Larry Nagy to the Board of Safety. And like I said, well, we have a nomination. Do we have any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations are now closed. So we've got Larry Nagy here, consider appointing to the Board of Safety. And I said this earlier and I'll stand by it. I promised people that we would advertise, and I will uphold my promise to those individuals. Well, we have the nomination. Do we have, I guess we'll open up the floor to, I guess, appointing Larry Nagy to the Board of Safety.
You need a second first.
Second.
That was on the nomination. Can we handle it all in one day?
You can.
You can?
As long as
Okay.
you choose to.
Okay. So we have a motion by Julie. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Rivera, seconded by Mr. Becker to appoint Larry Nagy to the Board of Safety. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan,
I'm going along with Richard T.O. to advertise, and, because Nick said it, so I'll vote no.
Julie Rivera,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Mary Joan Dixon,
No, I think we need to advertise.
Richard Teal,
No, and for same reason.
Greg Parker,
No, for the same reason.
Nick Recupido.
No, for the reasons I stated. Nothing against Mr. Nagy. I think he's a great guy. It's just my promises were made.
He's a great candidate, but
Yeah.
we're not ready.
So motion fails 5-2. So, we can just simply instruct, Jeff's office to advertise for this item. That's the will of the council. And what do we think for a timeline? I would just give those folks in that office a little bit of time to get their footing, because we had a changeover. We will have a changeover in the administrative assistant for Jeff, and, so there's gonna be a little bit of training for that individual.
If you do 2 weeks, you'll have the applications for your next meeting, and you can then consider them over the next 2 weeks and be in good sequence.
And if it's the same, if we receive the same, is this something that we can vote on in 2 weeks if we?
Could amend your agenda or include it in the agenda.
Okay. We all good, Jennifer?
Is our action clear on the echo restoration and the sewer money funds? I
I
mean,
think so. You're gonna see a resolution in draft before it hits here, so.
okay, I just wanna make sure it was clear.
Ms. Amber?
So advertise as quickly as possible. And then, I guess, like, when do you want us to stop accepting applications? Because You traditionally like to have items the week prior to your meeting, which would be a week from today, for us to compile, get back out. I mean, how do you guys want us to do this? It does make it a pretty tight crunch for the meeting on the 19th.
Yeah. Can it wait? What's the next meeting? April?
That'd be the first one in April.
I could wait.
I don't mind waiting to give us time to get those applications in and then people to do their due diligence, because beginning of the year, we had a really tight schedule with trying to vet 20-something candidates over a 3-day, 4-day period, you know, the Friday before the meeting.
And I'm just, again, my concern is with the changeover and the administrative assistant, plus I myself will be at training for a week coming up soon, so I won't be in the office to help her if she has questions.
Okay. Well.
So we can advertise and then make sure that everything's in place for that first meeting in April.
That's fair. I don't mind you guys working on a deadline amongst yourself that's reasonable as far as when you cut these applications off.
Okay.
You know, as long as we got plenty of time to vet them at that first meeting in April, and give us plenty of time to get that list ahead of time.
All right,
We
then
appreciate
that's what we'll do. We'll do it so that we make sure we cut it off and we have everything compiled and back out to them before that first April meeting.
Is March 22nd, would that be a good day to post that as a deadline? That gives people just over 2 weeks to see the notice and respond. And then that would give us a week, it'd give us 2 days cushion for having the 5-day deadline.
Sure. What's the council think? Sounds like you don't have any dissenters, so sounds like that'll work. Very good. Okay, any other town council reports? Mr. Carnahan, I'm sure you've got something for us.
Yeah, Lake County Solid Waste District will hold its Household Hazardous Waste Collection Series. Lake County, Indiana residents may bring up to 100 pounds of hazardous material for disposal. No latex paint is accepted. For additional information, a list of acceptable material may be viewed at www.lcswmd.com or call 219-853-240. Up. 219-853-2420. And upcoming hazardous waste events are held from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the following locations, and I'm only going to give you the first one, which will be Saturday, March 23rd at the Lake County Fairgrounds, 889 Court Street in Crown Point, Indiana. So I wanted to read what they had. I didn't know if you had that with you, Nick, or not.
I didn't have it with me. It was on my mind, but I appreciate you taking care of that, Bob.
All right, and then it's a while off, but the Cedar Lake Chamber of Commerce is going to have their business and organization showcase, and that'll be on Saturday, April 6th, 2024, and it'll be from 11 to 2 p.m., and it'll be at the Hanover Central High School Field House. There'll be free admission, free raffles, gifts, free kids activity, special guest appearance such as local mascots and characters. Bring your local receipts in for a chance to win one of our many giveaways. And then I'll let Mary Jo talk about the Easter thing.
What Easter?
The breakfast or...
Oh, that's with the Key Club. That isn't with the town.
Oh, well, no, neither is this other. I'm just, do you want to lift that up?
Oh, that's fine. I would like to share, Rich and I attended the Rebuild Together. It's a program we share with Maryville, Crown Point, Cedar Lake, and Lowell. Last year they were in Cedar Lake, and next year, or this year, they'll be in Maryville on 9/21/24. People are without talent are welcome to come and help persons of low income or handicapped to rebuild their homes. And they're gonna have another meeting coming up 6 months from now. So if anyone's interested, when the time comes closer, please let us know. We'll help you with signing up to volunteer, any challenges you have. Cleaning yards, washing windows, building, so.
Yeah, and I was glad that Mary Joan offered that, and especially being that I'm on unsafe building department. I had discussion with Dave today. I think this goes really well with us revising the ordinance, that in the future, that somehow any type of a non-for-profit, whether it be Rebuilding Together, Habitat for Humanity, that we can somehow figure out in the ordinance how we can maybe, I believe in Cedar Lake last year, they came and did 9 houses. If we can possibly work with these organizations, being a non-for-profit, for waiving permit fees, as long as they come in, give us scope of work, stuff like that, still go through an inspection process through the building department, but waive the fees just for that reason. I mean, it helps clean up, the town helps out, needy individuals that otherwise I could possibly see being in front of unsafe building. And so I thought it was a really good meeting, and I was really glad that I went.
Is there any assistance for helping people fill out the applications to apply for the?
I went to my first meeting. This is the first time I didn't ask that question.
If I can ask, Kevin, your office has applications when their time's available. It's not Cedar Lake next year, it's Maryville. But were applications available last year in your office for the Rebuild Together? Did they not pick them up at your office also, besides the town hall?
Yeah, we did have some last year.
Good. Any other town council reports?
I have one on the joint management oversight. I've had discussion with Jeff as far as reaching out to the Lowell town manager to possibly have a meeting middle of March to get us back on track. I feel that our February meeting was basically just the makeup meeting for November. In according to our agreement with Lowell, we're supposed to be having meetings no less than one time every 3 months, or every quarter, I should say. And so to me, I feel that having one mid-March would put us back on track. We still have a lot of unfinished business to handle with them. One being, which I mentioned at that meeting, was figuring out what we're going to do with the dispute professionals. Being that we had a disagreement with some funds, I should say, and how we were on the true-up and stuff. Jeff sent out an email, I believe, on the 21st. I talked to him yesterday. You sent out another one, I believe, and we did not.
I tried calling the office today, and I got no response for their show.
And we had no response from the email as well, right?
And no response from the email as well.
And that really bothers me, especially being up at that meeting, being mine and Mary Joan's first meeting, and we were told that we were kicking the can down the road. I didn't appreciate that, and to me, this is exactly what's happening right now, by us not getting a response. So I just wanted to get that out there.
Very good. One other report I have is that at a recent meeting, we had instructed Attorney Austin to draft an ordinance addressing the illegal busing of migrants into town. Attorney Austin has the ordinance drafted, and both of our chiefs, Chief Fisher and Chief Wilkeny, you guys get the email recently? No? Okay. We'll have to send it over again just for your review as public safety officials. So we're working on that to keep this community safe.
I did receive an email from you.
Okay.
But I didn't see the orders.
Okay, I'll get it back over to you guys again. All right. Moving on to Town Attorney Austin.
No report.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Sandberg, Clerk Treasurer.
Council, just so you are all aware, the annual financial report for the town of Cedar Lake for year 2023 has been completed and submitted. The annual financial report for the Cedar Lake Redevelopment Authority for 2023 has been completed and submitted. The debt management report has been completed and submitted. The video franchise fee report has been completed and submitted. The South Shore Convention of Visitors Bureau report for year 2023 has been completed and submitted. I previously reported to you all that the 100R, the Lake County Solid Waste reports have also been completed. All annual uploads that I am required to submit to the State Board of Accounts have also been completed. The ERC certification that we had previously discussed, I have completed that, and I am on track with the ITAP to get the quarterly reporting up to date. So I will be working with Brianne from INDOT to make sure I'm doing everything correctly on that. And also the upcoming training that I just mentioned, that is for the Indiana League of Municipal Clerks and Treasurers Annual Institute and Academy. I will be in attendance at that March 17th through 21st, so I will not be present at the next meeting, but I will have a member of my staff here to do roll call. That's a pretty important training. That's how I gain a majority of my credits that I am required to have for my annual training, as well as the for the completion of my term, because I'm statutorily required to have so many training hours.
Okay. I'm glad to hear you've had a lot of free time, Jennifer.
Did you do the 2-hour video for the NERC grant?
That is the ERC training.
Okay, I have free.
Yes, so I am working with them, because once I do that, then I have to get logged in with ITAP and all that and get everything up to date. And that is what I am working on.
When may that,
To NERC, where you have to go on the computer for 2 hours.
I was in a training session last week, but they didn't say anything about a 2-hour.
Well, you and I and Jen talked to NERC about it.
Well, but I haven't seen anything as a follow-up.
Okay, she could probably point you in that direction.
That is if you guys, community can have more than one ERC. And
well, he was a backup.
You really, yeah, you really do want that. But I will say, I made the mistake of starting that training here while I was in the office, and it was much longer than 2 hours. I didn't get it completed until I went home that evening after my children had gone to bed. It is definitely something that you need to find a quiet place and not allow anybody to bother you, because that was kind of a nightmare, me being here trying to get that done.
Okay, oh boy.
All right. Speaking of oh boy, Mr. Bungie, town manager report.
On the, toward the end of last month, we extended a successful bid to Site Services Incorporated to do seal coating and crack repair and painting predominantly the east side 133rd, Morris Street and Lakeshore Drive corridors. That will commence, I'm guessing, as soon as weather permits. That was a 50/50 community crossing block grant funded project that we qualified for. The other thing I was going to bring up, but I see it's an agenda item, is the special event permits, as far as an update and getting some information from you folks for how we should go forward with that. It was brought forward earlier about a discussion with Mr. Niemeyer. I did talk to him personally, probably 3 weeks ago. After our discussion, Nick, I called the office, I talked to one of his assistants, and he was going to talk with Senator Niemeyer about what his schedule was going to be that last week of March. So the branch has been extended. We just don't know how busy he is and what kind of other things he may have in the works for right now.
Okay, and that was regarding the update on the lake dredge.
That was procuring some extra money for the lake bridge project.
Very good.
Okay. Probably won't bring it up this month, but I did get a report. I know this has been an ongoing thing about the east side sidewalk program. I didn't really get a chance to absorb it. I only got it today. but it's an upgrade on what's at hand as far as funding and what the next steps would be. So I think I'll digest it in the next few days, and I'll have a report next week, or in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, Jeff, appreciate it. Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak?
Oh, yeah, we finally got started on lift station 19 over there by Lemon Lake. They started, got everything started and got the bypass going, and realized they opened up the parts and everything was 6 inch instead of 4 inch, so fast as we got started, we stopped. Had to reorder all the materials, which wasn't a super big deal, but the guy that came to do the job wrote down a 6 instead of a 4, long story short. Kind of put us in limbo for a week, and it's like the 14th, I think the new stuff is gonna be in and back on track, so it's not a huge delay, but just some excitement. And we also come to find out last week that Farmington Meadows subdivision down in Lowell, halfway between Lowell and Cedar Lake, somehow got occupancy to a house in that subdivision without the lift station being complete. The boys were down there and kind of seen the car there, and we knew that they got permits to start in there. Well, just like normal, they got started, and we let the county know that, you know, the lift station wasn't complete as of yet, and not to give occupancy, but somehow they did receive occupancy. The guys were down there and noticed the lift station was pretty darn near full. I did a lot of checking and looking, and they do have all the equipment. They got the backup generator. They ran into a problem that they needed 3-phase electric to power the lift station, which they didn't have. They did get engineering for the 3-phase power, and they actually paid a decent amount of money to get 3-phase power ran into developers, that is, and they are boring the line in now for the 3-phase power. I would imagine that within the next 2 weeks, the lift station will be up and running. I mean, we're keeping an eye on it. The developer actually brought out the Bruce Septic people that day when I got a hold of them and got it pumped completely out and taken care of immediately as soon as he was called. So we notified, we're sending an email to the county, actually was working on it with me, to let them know there's one more house. We got the address, and it's a model home, to try to prevent, you know, this from going forward. And then also, in order for them to get a permit from the county, they have to pay a sewer connection fee from the town of Cedar Lake, so we've stopped all of that. You know, we're not gonna issue any until, obviously, the lift station is complete. So it's a giant, crazy mess, but everything is way, way better than I originally thought, because when we first started looking into it, there's no panel out there, there's no, you know, there's actually the wet well is installed, and that's it. So basically, there's a big hole in the ground and nowhere for it to go. So the guys just were going out there just to check. They go to Lakedale, they do those, and they just happened to go down there and notice somebody, you know, like someone looked like somebody was living in that house, and checked it out and turned into a whole giant can of worms. So pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Those don't work without power.
Well, not at all.
Would you give kind of an update on the tear down at 129th and Hilltop? How many hours you put in, and?
I put in approximately 3 hours of machine time, 3 dumpsters, and we're awaiting some fill dirt in there, and the sewer's been capped off, and it'll be done, so it's pretty uneventful.
So, Jen, we'll end up getting that money back from that guy that signed for us to tear it down, right?
One would hope so.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that your planning director sends out an invoice to the individual, and then they are to make payment.
And if they don't, we'll put a lien on it.
That is my understanding.
But that went down rather quickly.
Anything else for us, Tim?
No, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
Tim, the house, they already got the residency?
Occupancy, yes.
Occupancy, Did they pay their sewer bill or pay their sewer
They've been paying
extension
their
fee?
sewer bill since November of last year, since our rules, say that when they pay their system development charge, they immediately start paying the sewer bill for those out-of-town subdivisions. So they've been paying their sewer bill since November. So yes, they have been.
And thank you, by the way, right away, the water cap
Oh, no problem.
on that sidewalk. We did 15 minutes.
I happened to be checking on the Robin's Nest, well testing, and I seen your message while I was like 2 blocks away, so that was a good timing. Well, that was another thing, they are working on the first well at Robin's Nest, doing the air bursting and cleaning and testing, and, they had some complications with the motor that was doing the pump test in the middle of the night. 2 nights it hit the breaker and blew out, so they didn't get good, steady, their 3-day pump test, so they had to put a new motor in and redo the pump and everything, so the 3 days is back starting again, but, so far, the results have been great, far better than anticipated, of what they've seen to date, but we haven't got the full 3 days as of yet, but they were pumping a lot of water out of there and only lost about 3 feet of level in the well though, so, it was good, so far so good, so.
Very good.
Too early to tell for 100% without the 3 days, but, looking good so far.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Tim. Police Department, Chief Fisher?
Nothing at this time.
Nothing?
I would like you
Maybe
to
not.
do an update on the buildings, both of you, at these meetings.
The building is still moving along. I don't have anything to add to it. I mean, the fire department's closed in, the police department's had its first coat of paint. They're putting the brick around, as you can see. But it's just a slow process. So other than that, nothing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Chief Welkening?
Yeah, the fire station is, once again, coming along. There's been a couple small, changes that didn't affect anything, but, we just did a tour, with the contractors just, last week. Town Manager Bungie, myself, Chief Fisher, and some staff went through the buildings. And you weren't there, or Nick was there, right?
Nick was there.
Yeah, Nick was there, I'm sorry, Nick was there.
Nick was there, Rich was there.
And
Don't
Rich
get
was
too
there.
attached to it, fellas, because it's probably gonna be a while before it has water.
We anticipate that.
So, can't feel good about it. I do have a couple other things anyways. Currently, we're writing a grant for new air packs for the fire department, to the tune of about $397,000 to replace all of our packs, all of our bottles. The Board of Safety has also, been informed. The match to the grant is gonna be about $20,000. And I anticipate I'm gonna have a conversation with Jen next year, possibly if we could take, if we do get the grant, to take it out of the non-reverting fund that the fire department gets every year. We currently have $110,000 in it to spend over 2 years, so if we do get that grant, there's a lot of options. This will put us in compliance with the communities around us in case we have to work together with them as well, but our packs are pretty old and we're going through it, so I just want the council to know that we are actually trying to save the town money by getting a new grant, or new air packs through a grant, not having the town have to pay for it. If we do not get the grant, we will still have to consider doing something, as far as like a refurbish on the packs or going with new packs. I'm not exactly sure the cost difference, but these are air packs that our guys strap on their backs. We need good appliances, so this will be for 31 air packs and spare bottles, rit packs, different appliances that actually go with it. So we're going for a federal grant for it.
Well, best of luck, thank you.
The second thing is in the last couple of years, I wrote a grant for personnel, and both years we did not receive it. In fact, State of Indiana only received, a couple departments received the grant. It's a very lengthy grant to write, and I'm asking the council for permission to write it again, or not to write it. It's up to you. The council's always granted me permission, but there has to be a number attached to it as far as how many personnel we would go for. Last time it was 4 that we applied for, to help us out. It's a 100% grant. We don't pay it until after the, 4th year, start having to pay to those people after 4 years. So, I'm asking the council, I'm going to send you an email about the grant as well, on top of the 3,000 other emails I've sent you guys in the past couple months.
Thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
So this personnel, does that...
It's been requested, Greg, I'm sorry.
I understand.
Does this grant include, you know, like their insurance and everything cost, or just
Yeah,
their salary?
No, it's everything.
Okay.
Yep.
For 4 years, you said? And then after that, it
I
becomes
think
our
it's after the
responsibility?
4th year, the town has to absorb all the pay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my thoughts off the top of my head is that I would consider it, but I would want to make sure as far as budgeting that we can absorb those costs, if any, after that 4th year.
Yeah, and then that's why, I mean, we have a meeting with Jennifer and the Council Affairs Committee on Thursday. That was gonna be a discussion point that I was gonna bring up with Jennifer and the committee as well, to see if it's obtainable in 4 years.
Very good.
Okay, because we're gonna need more personnel if we're gonna staff 2 fire stations, obviously.
All right. Thank you, Chief. We've got update items, general discussion. Number 1, discussion, special event permit updates.
Yeah, as I said earlier in the meeting, and at the attendance of the AIM conference, that we're going to add in the resolutions with our partners, whether it be Summerfest, Farmers Market, or Motor on Ice. We want to make sure that we're covered with BMI, County Health Department, Department of Natural Resources, Alcohol and Tobacco, INDOT, Homeland Security for amusement and entertainment permits. So we're going to just add that to the packet so that the liability and responsibility is also on our partner and ourselves.
Okay. The special events permit is, I think, an ordinance we adopted last year, if I'm not mistaken, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh.
It's all right.
Actually, it was adopted and amended, wasn't it just amended last year? It was adopted
Yes.
3-4 years ago?
No, it was
No, it
adopted
was
2
the same
years
year.
ago and amended last year to remove the money.
It was all done last year, and I remember being on the council, but anyhow, we've had some issues, I think, with the functionality of it, and that's why I kinda wanted to have this on the agenda tonight, because, there's been thoughts about repealing it, there's been thoughts about amending it, and I wanna get kind of the council's input on this as far as where the deficiencies are and where we wanna go with it. I know that personally, last year, I know that we had an individual that applied for it, and they had what I believe to be an event that really didn't have much of an impact on public safety. It was a food trailer, food truck, I think, and this individual was told they had to wait 30 days. Now, I guess that's in our ordinance, but I believe that, you know, if we have to get Public Works, the police department and fire department involved with these things, like if it's a concert or something, and you guys have to staff up for something like that, then I guess it's reasonable to make them wait. But some of these things, I think that they shouldn't have to wait as long as they do to conduct business that really doesn't have an impact on the town.
So why did he have to wait 30 days?
Because my understanding is in the ordinance.
For what?
That you have to wait, a petitioner or an applicant has to wait 30 days after the permit is submitted before they can conduct whatever activities that they plan on conducting.
So
This was from our previous
That
town
don't make
manager.
much sense, because the purpose of the special events permit was a discussion that I had with the previous town manager. The only reason that we asked for it was so that we knew what was going on sometimes.
It got really complicated after that. It used to be real easy.
I didn't want anything to be charged to the people. I just wanted to know what was going on. We had motorcycles going through the town, we had bicycle runs, we had running events, we had things going on, and nobody knew about it. I'd find out on a Saturday morning that there's a ton of things going on. I'm like,
why don't we have something simple like a permit that someone could go online, they could type it out, it could be a to from to each department head, so we know what's going on. That's all.
So if I could speak. One of those things in government, Bill, a pierogi truck got attached to it.
Well, yeah, in the past, it was that simple.
That's all I asked for.
Because Ed from Dan's Pierogi used to rent a lot from me. I would go and fill out his special event permit. He would come in here,
Yeah, but I
file
think
it.
that's slightly different, because he's actually serving food. I could care less.
Well, but the problem though, when that special event permit, got revised, and it put that 30-day in there, then he was required to have all of his information presented. Well, when he'd go down to the county to get his health permit, they're only good for 30 days. And then he was told he had to wait 30 days. So it used to be simple, it got complicated,
It
and then...
needs to be simple again. Listen, the special
Absolutely.
event, there might be different complications because it's food related or something that's special, right? Which might need a health department or something like that. I came to a previous town council when I first became chief asking for this. Mr. Niemeyer was actually against it because he didn't want to have to put anything against citizens having to fill it out, which we can go back and watch that YouTube. I don't recall what it was exactly. So I let it go. When our next town manager came in, I presented it to him again. All it was for was so that the fire chief, myself, and Public Works would have some knowledge that something was going on, because we don't always see or hear or come next door or hear from you guys or something like that, right? And that's all it was, hey, sign off on it, boom, we're good to go, thanks for letting me know.
And I don't disagree with you, but it wasn't working that way last year. And it wasn't working.
Not my department, I understand.
I know what,
that.
it's not.
I'm just trying to let you know what the purpose that I wanted it for.
It was happening in the town manager's department, and you guys signed off, I think Public Works does, fire department, police, and then it sits on the town manager's desk last year for weeks on end before they're able to conduct business. And I just think that there should be, instead of saying, you gotta wait 30 days, say it could be up to 30 days, and then the town manager can ultimately use his discretion once he gets the sign off from you folks,
I think it should say that they will have notification within 30 days. Then it puts it back on us to make sure that we're going back to the citizen who's applying for it and get it done in under 30 days.
That's what
right?
I
agree with you.
If I could speak on the last time, he contacted me when he was having issues again. When he finally got everything together, he had to resubmit everything again, and he was told, that doesn't mean you're still gonna get it in 30 days.
Again.
So I'm not...
And those people are gone?
Yes.
So, if we can move on, all I'm asking for is that we just keep that permit, because all it is for is so that the citizens, when they're having I'll give you an example. We have one subdivision that has a block party every year. They come and call us every year, hey chief, letting you know we're gonna have it between this date and this date. I always go over and do an inspection to make sure we can get an ambulance through. They're very open about it. Those are one of those examples.
The conference grounds has huge events at times. We're just approving the church to put a big addition on it, have an amphitheater in there to where it could hold a few thousand people. So it'd be just nice to know if that weekend there's gonna be a large event in town so that, we can prepare in case we have multiple calls or...
I had a conversation with Mary Joan, was it 6 months ago? 5 months ago, maybe, something like that? Because she started questioning things with the school. That was never the intention. Unless the school is taking something outside of the school grounds, if it's within the school, they have functions all the time. That had nothing to do with it. Now, if it was gonna require additional law enforcement, by all means, but usually we get that from the security officer.
We do get notification from the school that,
like
they're having a big wrestling tournament or something like that, they send that to us.
But the SRO will also reach out right away to let us know, hey chief, we're gonna have this going on this weekend, it's just a heads up. This was for just...
I don't wanna reveal it,
I don't either.
That's all. And Tim, you might have something on this too.
Well, this whole thing started out with the food truck thing. And it turned into, David was here, it turned into a whole thing with people that owned restaurants, and then people parking a food truck, and then allowing that one guy, I don't remember his name, but he was the one that started the whole thing of asking about then they did a special thing for the year while we were writing an ordinance where they could get permission to park the food truck, and I think they were the first one.
Yeah, and that actually was, when Jill was still here, I was approached saying, can they come in and do this for a longer time so they don't have to keep coming in, you know, every 2 weeks?
We gave them a couple of permits that were good for a month. We've given the pierogi guy, you know, for the month, you know, for the entire month, because it's, right, like you said, by the time he comes and does, you know, it's kind of one of those things, but, it was kind of, the whole food truck thing was a whole separate issue based on, I think, compared to the special event permits that are being talked of now, because that's allowing vendors to, you know, they had the Frank's Barbecue guy years ago parking in front of the Sportsman Den building over there, and that was the end of the world because he was selling, you know, I mean, he was competing with local businesses and whatever, but there's been all kinds of craziness with that.
There was a lot of dissension about that at the time.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk, and it was, but it kind of, the food truck and the pierogi, I mean, then that one guy came for the food truck, and then the pierogi guy just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. He's the one who's utilized the deal the most. He's been out there, you know, 50 times instead of twice. But the food truck thing and the special event permit were kind of two
different things.
separate animals, you know what I mean? And then we just kept the food thing going in the building department because we were instructed that it was kind of a work in progress, and until we made progress on it, to just kind of do it on the case-by-case basis, and that's what has happened till now, but there never was any further plan, I guess.
Mr. Austria?
I drafted an ordinance that you and I discussed that simplified all of this. I don't know if the entire council has it, but I did it after January 1st this year, and I will send it over here.
I haven't seen
Probably
it.
have some tweaking to it, but.
I wonder why it hasn't made it to an agenda.
I either forgot about it or I didn't get it, because we and I have discussed it since, and I didn't know that I got it. But does it clear up that 30-day issue?
It does.
Okay.
In fact, it removes 30 days and says, the permit shall be processed in a business-like manner as efficiently as possible. I think it's generic and permitted, putting the permit application review process into the workflow of the staff.
All right, if you could please send it out to the entire council, I appreciate it.
But it's in a contemplation of it if it's ready.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item?
And the only other thing that I've got is because of the Artist Guild has been in contact with me as far as dates for their summer concert series. I think we have some time. I don't think they're starting until June. I think they're looking for a total of 8 dates in, maybe it's May. But I believe they're looking for a cumulative total of about 8 dates. So, and that kind of falls under the same auspices because they like to know where they stand and they want to start booking events.
Okay.
And, you know, musicians and acts and that kind of stuff.
Well, I would hope that we can get this in our hands and get this on the agenda for the next meeting, so we can move forward, especially with the weather breaking. I'm sure you're gonna get a lot more requests in your office. So, okay. Very good. Number 2, Farmers Market Coordinator Agreement. This is an update item / general discussion. Ms. Dixon?
Kelly is in the audience.
Okay. Did you have anything to address?
That's all, you know, we just want to include that in there.
I think she wants to ask a few questions, maybe, right?
Do you need to speak?
I just saw that it was on the discussion, so that's why I came, because I thought we were done discussing, and that a contract would have been coming in the last couple of weeks. So when I saw that it was on, I thought it would be good to come and see if you guys had questions.
So 2 weeks ago, Council Affairs, you asked Dave to draft a resolution.
Correct.
Dave, did you get any?
No, I haven't gotten anything since then.
Because we attended that AIM conference, we wanted to make sure that we're following what the state is pushing, you know, through the
I
AIM
thought that was
organization.
more for like carnivals though, and not farmers.
Oh, no, there was carnivals, festivals, Doras, which is designated areas for parties and stuff like that.
I just want to make sure that that Kelly's clear on like what you guys want from her, and
Yeah.
that Dave's clear.
Yeah, it's just adding these items that I read off. We just wanna make sure that, you know, that they're followed through. She does the health department, she takes care of that.
Okay, just
Do
as
you
long
know all those items?
I mean, we've not done anything, as far as I know, that's not been what we're supposed to be doing. We've had insurance and health department stuff and all the normal things, so we've never been told we've done anything wrong.
No, it's just
So,
keeping it in the resolution so we protect the town, that's all it is.
yeah.
And we discussed that stuff when we met with
Normally,
you.
it's done like a long time ago at this point, so we're getting closer to the date and,
You have your
you
dates.
know, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably also a consequence of the changeover in the council we had, you
Yeah.
know, so, but,
Mary Jo and Rich, can you get that stuff to Dave as soon as possible?
Yes, I said earlier, he'll have it tomorrow.
Okay.
all right. Thank you, Kelly. Take care.
So we'll have it at the next meeting, the resolution?
My best.
Dave, you're gonna be very
He's
busy.
not getting it till tomorrow.
We have that tomorrow.
Next meeting.
You have that yesterday, Dave?
Okay, written communication, Ms. Amber, do you have anything submitted?
I have not received anything.
Okay. We'll move on to public comment for the town council. Public comment. Anybody here? One at a time, just come on up, say your name and address for the record.
This is actually for Tyler Vulcany. Other than 7,000 less,
You gotta state your name and address.
I know, I just did.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, no, just tell them your name, Nick.
Nicholas Foley. This is actually for Tyler Vulcany. There was like 2 ambulances at the, St. Anthony's. They've been sitting there for a while, but I don't know if they want to use 2 ambulances for the fire department. But if they want to use them or not, that's up to them. 'Cause they've been having 2 ambulances sitting there for a while, and it's just, that's how that looks.
Those are St. Anthony's ambulances, and they use those to transfer patients. They're not available to us to use.
Okay, I just figured that.
We have 3 ambulances, just let you know. Okay.
I only seen 2 there.
Well, there you did, but we have 3 at our fire station.
Yeah.
There's 3.
You've been down before.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I have in mind, you know.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jerry Wilkeny, 10826 West 131st Avenue. I asked about the rumors of water on the west side of the lake.
We don't have any water on the west side of the lake.
Are we any closer to having the numbers are you any closer to having the numbers that we need to figure that out?
Our engineer, Neil, with Nice, he's got instructions to get us those numbers on the west side. And I think he's getting really close, like hopefully days, you know, in a matter of days close. He's been updating me every couple of days as far as the progress, so.
Okay.
But as Greg said, it's probably not looking good, to be frank with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure we even need it, because we don't have it.
But don't we have water, we just don't have storage capacity?
Yeah.
But,
That's
that's like not having water.
Yeah.
If you don't have supply, you don't have pressure, you don't have water. I mean, there's water in the ground, but not enough to make the system work. Not without another water tower, that's what the man said earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is regarding a couple of questions. Farmington Meadows. The sanitary sewer system there is ours. That's correct? Correct. The lift station wasn't hooked up, but there were occupancies. That's what I heard earlier.
One house, yes.
One house, okay. Who from here did that inspection? I'm sorry, who from here, who's the developer on all that? Who did all that work?
I don't know the name of the company, but, it was I have it in my truck, I don't know the name, but.
Those permits got pulled through the county, not through Cedar Lake, right?
Building permits, correct.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So,
I heard you say, there was no power there,
correct.
which is, what I noticed. But where's the generator for utility loss? It was there and then it was gone.
The generator is in, Austin Excavating's pole barn.
Okay, so it's still around.
It's around. Everything is there, they have all the parts,
Okay.
the Xylem people, like I've contacted everybody and their brothers, and all the pieces are there, but the same thing happened to us on lift station 5. We ordered they have some kind of crazy electric called three-phase 240, which everybody assumes is 240 normal electric, why they don't call it 208 or anything crazy.
Because it's not.
It's a drive lingo that everybody assumes that when they see 240, that it's a 120, 240 power source, and when you get it, it's got 3 powers on it, and it's three-phase 240, which even the NIPSCO, it's crazy, but it's something that we learned the hard way also. But they got everything out there and found this to be the case, so either they had to get the third leg of power to the lift station, or they had to buy all new pumps and equipment to...
So who designed all that?
The developer in Xylem.
The engineer, were not our engineers?
No, we gave the developers our specs that they had to meet for the lift station, and they do it on their own. All we did is somehow they got permission to finish up that neighborhood from the town, so we gave them our specs and plans of what we would accept for a lift station, and they proceeded to do that on their own.
So who from here did the inspections on that stuff?
Our guys inspected the installation of the wet well to this point.
Okay.
And then, obviously we knew the houses were starting to be built as models. We informed the county back, that they had a hiccup.
Yeah.
But that somehow slipped by whatever, something happened and it got overlooked, so.
Seems like the cart's getting put before the horse an awful lot. I mean, that got.
Well, again, it's all, it's one of those things, everything is there, and it just was one of, everything would have been in place, but, stuff happens.
Except it wasn't.
But it shouldn't have, the occupancy still should not have been granted, and the people knew that, but it still was, and that was something due to it being out of the town limits that we, our building department didn't have control over it, but it's just kind of a crazy thing. But in the past, it's happened in the past where people have paid their sewer tap connection fee, and then they never started charging a sewer bill because it was a county-built house, and it missed our loop of communication, and that's why we changed the policy, or day one, when they pay their system development charge and their tap fee, they begin paying the sewer bill, so we don't have to try to manage when the house is done and when occupancy happens, and, it's definitely a unique thing, and being outside of our territory where it is, it just, luckily our guys checked on it and seen what was going on, so.
So the stormwater out there is not your responsibility, correct? That's the county's responsibility. Okay, all right. Mr. Parker, you mentioned the cart before the horse.
I didn't invent that.
The Freedom Park water tower was built. How many years before it could be filled? Does anybody know?
Damn fine, no.
Okay. It was a couple years.
Yeah.
So that cart before the horse is sometimes not a good thing. And now we know that Lowell doesn't own their water system anymore.
No, they don't. We got a $16 million building out here that it's gonna be a while before we got water for it, and we're selling brown water on the west side. So.
Only on occasion, special event.
Well, if we're selling it at all, that's just kind of a tragedy, isn't it? Brown water should be free. It's in the mud puddles. You shouldn't charge for that.
Mrs. Dixon, you mentioned the special event, farmer's market, kind of a mixture of conversation. You mentioned liability to the town. What is the liability to the town for these special events? I mean, the ambulance is there.
Not always.
Not always?
It depends on the event.
Okay.
So,
okay. But all those things are taken care of by the person doing the event?
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And
So what is the liability to the taxpayers by using the town grounds?
Most partners have insurance.
Okay.
Summerfest used to have insurance provided by the town, because that was part of our partnership. But as of last year, we have our own insurance. Farmers Market has their own insurance.
Okay.
The other liability is the fact that we want to make sure all those agencies that have to be contacted for you to have your event, like for instance, the Peglin Plot, DNR has to know that they're out on the water doing a special event out on the lake. We just want to make sure these people understand that there's other agencies besides us.
So the liability is the notification of these events? is what
Correct,
you're
because if
getting
there's
at?
a fine, it can come on to us,
Right.
in addition to the
Right.
person sponsoring the event.
Okay, so is there a fee to use the grounds? Is there a fee for the,
Yes.
is that,
It varies. I mean, we don't have anything set that it's cost, like Summerfest,
No, there's a structure fee in the ordinance for the grounds.
there is not
We did it 2 years ago.
There is not a structure for Summerfest, Farmers Market. We have our own separate resolutions.
Right,
That's what
that's
you're-
those, right.
Is that what you're referring to? Or are you referring to if someone wants to rent the grounds?
well, it's kind of the same thing. If you're over here using it and you're making money, then you're renting it.
Correct.
Yeah, but Jerry, she's right, it depends on the event or the type of event that is.
Okay.
Like
planned
music,
and presented.
the music is a partnership, so they don't pay like we do. They don't need the security.
Right.
I believe you
So-
provide one
So
police
this
officer.
document that Bill's talking about exists?
It's ordinance.
It does exist?
It's an ordinance.
I mean, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, and that'll have
And
all that
then these
on
are
there.
resolutions. So
Okay.
Kelly, the Summerfest, we have resolutions.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Hey, let me stop you right quick. Let me stop you just for 1 second. I gotta say something before I forget. Somebody just texted me and said that it looked like I was rude to you, Bob. I didn't mean to be rude. I'd apologize if you felt that I was being rude about that water thing, but it's like we don't have water.
Yeah.
I
I
wasn't-
would just, that we got water, we just don't have enough capacity to, send it to everybody.
I love you, Bob. I didn't mean anything by it, so just apologizing there. Go ahead, Terry, I'm sorry.
Good evening, Terry Broaders, 14513 Morse. I would like to backtrack a little bit on going back to the dredge conversation. There was a couple great points made tonight, and I applaud the board. A whole lot of hard decisions you guys are making immediately and still to come. So I appreciate all the hard work that goes into these decisions. Hearing the argument from both sides, I feel for both sides. I mean, we're almost 50% done with a project, financially, right?
I don't think that's the case. I don't think we're 50% done with it.
Or at least we spent 50% of the money transferred in.
We spent over 50% of our sewer money.
Yes, that's my point. But going back to the conversation we had, Greg, you had made a good point about, it's only a matter of time before equipment starts showing back up again with the weather change.
And once that money's gone, Terry's gone forever. We're not into that.
And I agree. So my point being tonight is that with all the discussion we're having about maybe stopping the project, reverting money back to the account.
No one said.
Let me finish, please.
Stop the project.
So my point is that with everything going on, wouldn't the responsible thing to do at this point is at least reach out to the company and let them know before they start sending equipment, before they start doing their planning to start up the next phase, that if there is any changes going to be made, that they should be abreast to them too. Maybe if we postpone for a season. I don't know, there's a bunch of options on the table, I'm sure.
That probably would be responsible, but then we would be accused of stopping the project.
That's my point though, but reaching out to the company, Greg, I think is a
That
responsible thing to
has
do
to
at this
happen
point.
regardless, Terry. It
Thank
does.
you.
I think they already brought equipment back. Those points taken.
It's here.
It's here, yeah.
They've been here for a while.
Your move.
He's like, everybody's order.
Kevin told 9725B West 129th place. And I gotta congratulate Nick, you topping the 3 hours again.
I'm trying.
Shouldn't have said that earlier. but anyway.
This is in your guys' hands down there, something now.
Just real quick, couple comments. I applaud you guys looking into it, getting our wastewater money back. I've been on that bandwagon for a while. I hope we can do something. I think it should have never been done in the first place. But anyway, the other thing I would like to mention though too is that, and Terry just mentioned over here too, and Greg, you just mentioned it, we're not even probably, 2/3 into this thing, and we don't have the money for it. I mean, there's, how much is it for the third phase? We're talking at least another $3 million.
Kevin, we don't have the money to finish that or the west side sewer interceptor.
I understand.
Without coming to you folks and getting more money from you. And I just want to stop you for a minute, because I want to make a point here, you've inspired me as well. In 1998, when everybody was in this room, and the council at that time asked them to invest in the future of the sewer of this town, they asked them to pay an additional $38 in anticipation.
30.
Was it 38?
It was 30, it was $18 and it went up to 48, so it was $30.
$30. I stand corrected, thank you. Bob's a great historian as well. So they asked folks at that time in 1998 to invest in the future of Cedar Lake and pay that extra $30. And people have done that in anticipation. And you know what? It worked really good because we had a surplus in the sewer fund. And most of the time, we didn't have to raise sewer fees for all these years, and we got all this extra stuff done. But here's the problem. When you've got a pile of money sitting, everybody starts looking at that. And then the next thing you know, somebody comes along and wants to get rid of it for one of their pet projects, which is what happened here. And then we got to come back to the ratepayers and the taxpayers and say, well, guess what, folks? We need more money. And the only place we can get it from is you.
Not the only place.
Julie, you know that that is a pipe dream. And it is 20 years out at best. But again, you have the right to say that.
I'm exhausted, so go ahead.
But getting back to my point, and I heard a couple of weeks ago, again, like I said, I know we're talking at least another $3 million to even get to the finish of the first 3 phases of the dredge project or whatever, whether it's gonna do any good or not, because we're still not stopping the crap from coming into the lake, and there was other things that are not being done. But I heard mentioned a couple of weeks ago again, it was, well, we can maybe get that other $3 million out of the TIF district. And that's all we keep doing is creating, we keep pushing this, now we're gonna do residential TIFs. Right, so we're gonna be, $3 million for the lake, what are we gonna do with the rest of the money? And when's that money gonna come in? That residential TIF district money doesn't flow in overnight. It flows in after something's developed and after there's taxes collected on that property.
Correct.
And outside of what we've already got plotted, we're in no position to go forward with any new subdivisions. We don't have sewers, we don't have water, so where is this money coming from?
Just like the sewer fund, it takes years.
But what does that do to every other entity too? What does it do to the schools? What does it do to everybody else? Everybody's gonna lose money out of that tax, because those taxes are being captured. We just lost $3.7 million out of our TIF district over on, by the Strachan Van Hills, right? That went into the lake. That money was supposed to go to develop businesses, but it didn't. It's gone, right? For 7 years, I think it's loaned against now. The same thing is gonna happen with the residential TIFs, and we're still not gonna have any money. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angie Michaelacek, 12806 Lee Court. I just wanted to comment on this waiver request that you guys considered today. And I was just looking at the GIS, and it's just a little confusing to me, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention. If you look at the number 9, it says parcel 6949-70 and 701 West 126 Avenue. Those are actually 2 different parcels. One is 0.25 acre, and the other one is over 2.5 acre. And the one that's 2.5 acre sits in the back, and there's a lot of hills, contours, and creeks back there. I don't know if it's part of the wetlands. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
I suppose now it's triggered to get put on the Plan Commission agenda.
It'll have to have a 1-lot subdivision, and those 2 parcels will be combined to create one.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it to your attention, because it's also...
exactly what'll happen.
It's also located right where they fixed Vermillion and put on those nice curbs, it's right there. Curbs, yeah. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Andy.
Thanks.
Anyone else here for public comment? Anyone else? Sandberg, do you have anything online?
No hands are raised.
No? Okay. And our next town council meeting is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 at 7 PM. This meeting is adjourned at 10:01 PM. Thank you all.